Futures back downside here a little bit this morning to kick things off on a Friday, coming off the best day for the market in 2 years. Yesterday, we had the worst day on Monday, and now we're back to the upside. Best day yesterday for the S&P in 2 years, partially due to that huge red candle. So we get the gap up yesterday, and it was just straight higher all day long. A little bit of a pullback here this morning, but we're starting to get into some significant levels. If you go back a little bit on the daily chart here, 525 up to 535, bit of an area going back to May and June. Really nothing significant as far as economic data to worry about today, so shouldn't have any interruptions as far as the market is concerned. On that front, just seeing Canadian employment change coming through right now, down 2,800. Forecast was for a gain of 25,000. So print actually is negative 2,800 there for Canadian employment change on a month-over-month basis. So that's not good for our economy on this side of the border. Futures down ever so slightly here, about 0.5% now for the NASDAQ, 0.34. The S&P 500, yeah, there's Eli Lilly. If you zoom out a little bit here, monster day yesterday. Held the gains on the pullback. Even 8:30, we're gapping up a little bit here, but down tick. So far this morning, I mean, there's not a heck of a lot as far as earnings. I mean, nothing terribly exciting at this point this morning, but a number of individual movers to get to.
Yeah, and like as you mentioned, all 11 sectors in the S&P, Brendo, yesterday were green, so very good day for the overall market. Donald Trump also making comments yesterday with respect to marijuana, so we'll have to keep tabs on those. Keep an eye on the marijuana names, possible legalization coming from there. Taiwan Semi as well. Chips back in focus, reporting month-over-month gains that are quite eye-watering, 44.7% increase in revenue month over month for the month of July. So good luck there. Chips always in place, seems like, friend.
Yeah, speaking of weed here, this is Canopy Growth reporting this morning. A little bit of an uptick here on a better than expected report. Raheem, if you're with us yesterday, Raheem and I were talking a little bit about the cannabis sector. But, I mean, let's be honest, this is not a story. I mean, it's from the Republican side of things, it's a story that we're hearing for the first time, but definitely not a political story that we've heard for the first time in the U.S. Lots of discussions over the past couple of years here as far as cannabis in the U.S. is concerned. As far as individual movers go here this morning, we'll focus a lot on semiconductors. I was having a look at this. This is the SMH, but I mean the ETFs across the board, anything related to semis as of the end of the day yesterday. Absolutely monstrous day here. 7% top to bottom there from the low, back to the high yesterday. So, I mean, Nvidia's up here. I mean, down tick right now. Nvidia's up here, but the entire semiconductor group so strong yesterday.
Yeah, and even Intel participated in it, almost 5% at the highs. Separately, there was a comment this morning with Bank of America and their best ideas list or something to that effect, removing Micron, removing Dell from both those. So I want to keep tabs on both of those names today. Not really sure exactly why they removed them. Haven't had an opportunity to read the commentary yet, Brendo.
Yeah, I mean, that comes after yesterday. Remember, we were sitting here and they were talking about their buyback or reinstating their buyback. Exactly. And Micron was the one that was popping to the upside. Here's TSM as well. Huge day yesterday for Taiwan Semi. Bit of a pullback right now, but still stuck in that gap. Happy Friday, guys. Good morning.
Good morning. Wow, that was like it's in sync there. Like we were even trying to do that, Obi. Now we were planning that for the last 15 minutes or so before we came on. We were talking amongst ourselves with our coffees. Let's make sure we get it in sync. But it was a much better morning when we were threatening to break through those levels from last Friday. And it's like we came full circle. Yeah, Monday, everyone's panicking and all that stuff. And yeah, whatever. Let's just get right back to Friday's lows where we closed last week and round trip that sucker because that's what the markets do. But little bit of a pullback here. So we were talking about which direction the market could go. Who cares? The way I see it, you've got Friday lows, short under, Friday's close, I should say, which are also adjacent to their lows. If underneath that, it's an obvious resistance spot. So underneath it, look for shorts. Above it, look for longs if we're breaking. And if we get a good dip buy on stocks, I think that's fantastic too. I don't know about conviction lists and all this other whatever. Micron essentially getting removed from any list. I'm kind of hoping, The hope would be that this is a situation where we blow out the top and then everyone's bearish because of whatever the reason is that they took Micron off that list, and then you just break out the week high. That would be a little bit interesting, but come on. We're going to be looking at Nvidia today. Nvidia right back to Friday's top, which is also Thursday, and Wednesday's highs coincides with Friday's close. It's a pretty obvious, like this is like 108.80, so 109 is going to stand out. See, sometimes I realize I draw these lines really poorly. So that 109 is going to stand out. Short under, breaks out, go over. If we get dips into where the buyers were yesterday, I mean, got to be in there as well. So there's a lot to look at. Earnings front, I mean, you had Unity, that was okay, but eyes will be on Palantir and Shopify again. I think it's pretty clear that some of these day 2, day 3 plays have been absolutely fantastic in terms of opportunity. You saw what Palantir did. You saw what... Upstart was okay, but you certainly saw what Shopify was able to do yesterday. So I want to be back on the well on some day 2, day 3 plays. And let's not sleep on Apple 214.
Yeah, a lot of these large constituents, top constituents, Mag 7 on watch today. We were talking a little bit before we came on about Amazon, Apple, and Google. If we're talking about all those, we might as well look at some of these market instruments here, Neil. And I'm looking at the Spider right now. Interesting action. Yes, we had one of the worst days Monday, one of the best days yesterday. But take a look at where we're pulling back off of from the pre-market action. So Friday end of day consolidation, pretty much a gap fill. We've pretty much gap filled in terms of that gap down that we had at the beginning of the week here, and we tested some of these mid to end of day consolidation highs in and around 533 on the Spider, and we're pulling right back into what seems like a little bit of a range as of right now. So let's see some interesting levels there. Can we get above 533? Do we pull back in? It's the end of the week for a week that started off quite spicy, to say the least. Yeah. There, spicy, and emphasizing on the red for sure. Off of the open there. Again, a lot of panic, a lot of speculation, a lot of people coming up with reasons and I guess maybe even some excuses as to why the market is acting the way it is. But the thing is, price action definitely a little distinct there. Sideways chop as of this week. Consolidation after a leg down coming in from prior week as well.
Before we go back to the desk, there was a question, what was the news on Micron? Someone said they didn't understand. They just got removed from, and I want to get this right, Bank of America Global Research's US1 list. So them and Dell, they and Dell got removed from that list, so it is what it is. Adrian, we can already feel Neil's funkiness. Keep on grooving. I'm in a bit of a mood right now because I was telling the story, obviously, someone actually spoiled in the chat, someone spoiled the 200 meters, the US final. No, they didn't say what happened, okay. but they did say Noah Lyles had COVID, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Because then I got home and I went to watch it, and I'm like, oh, he's running the race. Of course he doesn't have COVID. I can see him in the race. Oh, they were just joking. They were trying to troll me. And then I watched this dude run 19.7, which is very good, by the way, to win the bronze, but he should have, he was expected to win the race, glowing away. And the winner goes 19.44. Great race by Tobogo, but Noah Lyles is capable of more than that. After hugging other competitors and shaking hands and all that good stuff, dude collapses on the track and turns out he's had COVID since Tuesday.
Wow.
So I can't. I guess it's
not a professional athlete.
I mean, I don't know how to feel about it. In one sense, I'm just ridiculously impressed of what he was able to accomplish while obviously not feeling well at the Olympic stage, just running unbelievable, all that kind of good stuff. But then what in the heck? What you know you got it. You're just like, yeah, let me just hug you. You got races still going. I'm just gonna shake your hand and hug you. And then the dude's wearing a mask. He's running with the mask? No, he wasn't. Oh. And then after he's been warming up with everybody, had it for a couple of days. His teammates don't know, his competitors don't know, all of that stuff. He knew though. He knew. He's in the warm-up area. He's in the staging area. He runs the race and all of that. He's hugging people after the fact. And then when he goes to do the interviews with the press after the race, he puts a mask on for that. I'm just saying. Noah Lyles, that guy is a character. That's why he's the face of track and field, because there's never a dull moment with that guy. But congratulations to all the athletes, and wow, the USA pulling out that basketball game.
Oh yeah, we saw the end of that ball game yesterday on the bridge. Close, really close game. Started watching it in the last like minute or so, and yeah, came in clutch.
Kind of trying to figure out where maybe.
I think Curry with the free throws at the end.
Dude, Curry didn't miss. I mean,
Curry don't miss.
Curry doesn't miss.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Let's
miss.
be real.
But you know what? The other thing is,
I don't really watch sports, but I know
you had to watch
LeBron James, Steph Curry. Like these guys are performers, top of the top. So it's like
the best of the best.
Yeah.
I mean, they're expected to win, but it's still thrilling. And maybe Tatum has COVID, and that's why they're not playing him. I have no idea what's going on there. Let's go back to the desk.
All right, just reading a little bit more here on this Canadian jobs data that came through there. Pretty negative print there on our side of the border. They're now pricing in 28 basis points worth of additional easing in September. The Fed also expected to go for the first time here in September on a quarter point. Not that that's going to make much of a difference, I think, either way at this point, north or south of the border.
Yeah, I felt like this was coming, Brendo. We saw like the GDP was not growing as quickly as the American GDP. Our jobs were not recovering as quickly when we were coming out of the pandemic. So you kind of felt that this was going to happen. But we're going to have to deal with it and keep an eye on the economy. Obviously, very focused on minerals and resources and other industries like that.
Yeah, when it does turn, it turns very quickly. And I mean, Fed Chair Powell even alluded to that. Going back a year or so ago, that it's very easy for them to do not enough, and it's also very easy for them to do too much. So getting it exactly right is incredibly difficult. So Rivian, I was just noticing here. It's basically flat here this morning, not doing a heck of a lot. But I was just reading, going out on a road show to try and promote the new models they have coming up, the R2. To come within the next couple of years. But nice couple of days here for Rivian. We got the huge gap down on Monday, rallied all the way back to 15, gap down again 2 days ago, and now we're back towards that 1480.15. A bit of a pivot, though, if you go back to May, June as well for Rivian.
Yeah, and Jeffrey's giving them a price target upgrade today, not much, from 16 up to 17. There's also this promotional roadshow that they're going to go on, apparently, to kind of get the hype on for their R2 SUV. Is supposed to be coming up soon. We're not exactly sure when production takes place. Supposed to be slated for next year. But yeah, nice to see that they're getting the ball rolling.
Yeah, we had EVs have kind of taken a back seat here the past couple of days. I feel like we haven't really touched on them a lot. But there is one earnings name that's higher, at least this morning, that's worth noting. Take-Two, TTWO. Nice report after the close yesterday. Not a heck of a lot of volume here, but up significantly to start things off.
Yeah, it was a mixed report here, Brendo. So revenue beat expectations, about $1.25 billion in revenue, but the net loss widened to about $262 million. They're blaming that widening net loss on advertising that they actually had to spend for their new game that they acquired from Zynga Studios, which is the studios that they picked up in 2022 for around $11 billion.
Just seeing a couple of notes coming through here on Eli Lilly again. We mentioned that off the top there. LLY, huge day yesterday. Held most of that game, trying to gap up here again for Lilly, guys. But there's Take-Two. Not terribly active, but nice looking chart.
It was an R&B group named it Take-Two, like way back in the day. But with the amount of volume that Take-Two is doing in the pre-market, that's why my mind went elsewhere. I was actually and we'll get to Eli Lilly in a quick little second, because I think that's worth a cursory look for everybody. I know what Dara is going to be on it. I got $1 says, okay, when I was in high school, every bet was $1, because that's just how I rolled. I watched Trading Places, where like Randolph and Mortimer would always bet each other $1. So like it turned it into my thing. I'm like, okay, I bet you $1 this or that. So when I say $1 says, I don't really care. It's just I bet you Dara's trading it. Take-Two, sometimes like you look at things and there's a support at 150. It gaps up on earnings. It wicks 150 already underneath that. And then you pop this daily chart's not really going to cooperate. Let's pull it up on Trade Ideas. I know we have Michael coming through. So TTWO. And let's just bring that one down. And I can go daily, weekly up here so you guys can get an idea of what this stock is doing. Because it is, somewhat interesting, right? Like on a weekly, look at the big support there at 140. We pop it back over to the daily chart. And it looks even more interesting because you're breaking out here, And then this 150 is a absolute wall of what was support that is turning into resistance. Like even just holding 150 probably gives you room into the low 50 range. So like it looks interesting above that price. Underneath it's the problem. Right? Like underneath that, you've got the gap fill back in there. So it's not really that interesting to me unless it can hold above the 150 level. And Eli Lilly, shout out to Adara for tackling this one a couple of times, like being able to sniff out the long, be willing to take the hit, and then go back into it when it was doing a bit of a rounded bottom. It's got a nice little 850 zone. We were talking about this last night on the show about that 850 level being a pretty important one. Like you had this little dance here in both directions off of 850 for Eli Lilly. So there's a lot of stocks that I think are setting up for very clear over-unders. We were just talking about that with Rivian. Yes. And you just got to pick your poison. Like the reason I'll be on Nvidia is because Nvidia, that early short worked, and then the support hit off the bottom, and then it just trended after that. So we've been watching it all week. And then Apple, I like a little bit better. Like you can say 850 that, or I can just say 214 change on Apple, and Apple resistance all week into a support level. And what I love about the breakout here, and why I would prefer this stock, what I love about the breakout is most names that have the week high corresponding with the Friday close down here. Like that's what the NASDAQ looks like. That's what a lot of stocks look like. With Apple's case, you've got this 214 top corresponding with the Friday low, and then a gap to the close on Friday. So I just see that as a little bit more upward potential. I mean, all of these things have higher lows into a potential break, but it's just potential. Resistance is resistance until it ain't. So like I'm going to try to keep it pretty simple. I like Nvidia. Apple at this 214 is very, very clear, clearly a big level. And unfortunately, Palantir doesn't want to break 30 yet.
Yeah, I like that. I like that look on Take Two. Now, this was a name I didn't really have on my list. Again, for similar reasons, not doing too much volume in the pre. Not even doing that much relative volume as well, like 3 times as much. You got to take a look at the cap on this one, 24.3 bill cap. So it's not really up there. But take a look at this. Not only is that 150 a little bit of support and resistance, you also have a trend resistance that's been happening over the past couple of months. Take a look at this. Prior earnings, you had a strong reaction and you bid up for over a month on Take Two. Crack of that trend reversion. Oh boy, all the way down, almost if you don't count this earnings reaction low there, you pretty much wipe back down below some of these multi-year, maybe not multi-year, but yearly lows on Take Two. And then now we're going a little bit back green on the year. Again, not counting that earnings reaction low off of this. But yeah, 150 and then maybe a little bit higher as well. Let's see how far Take Two can get. A little bit of a double stack when it comes to resistance here.
All right, we were just talking about the lack of airports in this city and how it's a little bit challenging to get in and out of downtown. Michael Noss is patiently waiting for us, so let's get to him on a Friday morning. Happy Friday, Michael Noss. How are you?
Happy Friday. What a week.
Yeah, we kick things off. I feel like there we go. We kick things off with the worst day in a couple of years and then follow that up with the best day yesterday. So, I mean, regardless, for short-term traders, volatility is our friend. Volatility brings all kinds of opportunities. You brought a couple of really interesting charts that I was just looking at as well, highlighting some key areas that we need to maybe see retaken to maybe prove a point that this was just a blip when all is said and done.
Yeah, and that's the main reason for it, is everyone's asking that question right now. Was this a flash crash, or is this the start of a major event, another bear market or something like that? And I don't know. But I want to kind of show the audience and show you guys, as a technical analyst and as someone who's more in that kind of swing trade or longer term environment, how I look at it. Like Brendan said, this is a great environment for short-term trading. This is a great environment for even strategies that are, buy the dip, sell the rip, that type of thing. But for someone who likes to follow trends for a long term, there's certain things that I need to see to either be bullish or either to be bearish of the market. And until then, I think we just kind of have to treat this this is a high volatility chop, again, like Brendan was saying, and just play it as such. So before we even get to the charts right away, what I need to get bearish, like, actually worried about the market again, is simply a close or a retest, a failed retest of Monday's low, right? That we can see that in the first chart, I guess, but that's easy. If we break under that Monday's low that we had, then, that is worrisome to me, right? We break that on volume, we close below it. That's kind of worrisome. More importantly, what I want to focus on is what I would need in order to be comfortable again, getting involved in some of my longer term trades. Everything I'm going to do, and I'll bring you guys some ideas Mondays on this shorter term, revision to the mean type of trading. But yeah, for the longer term, what do I need to see? So the first indicator I'm using here is just a moving average cloud. We've covered this a few times on the show. It's a newer indicator that we have in Trade Ideas. The cloud that you're seeing, the green or red cloud, is just the difference between an 8 and a 20 EMA. Those are just very commonly used indicators. You can see that when the 8 is above the 20, it shows this green cloud, and I've highlighted that as we bounce into this green cloud, when we're in uptrend, usually we'll find some support there and push higher. When that doesn't happen, and we trade below that for a period of time, we have to go all the way back to September, October, when that cloud was red. You can see that could act as resistance, and it actually acted as resistance again earlier in the month as well. It caused this little spike down. So that's sitting around 540 or so on the SPY, which I think we'll see is going to be kind of a common number. So I need to see that cloud get retaken, preferably the 8 to cross back over the 20. Again, this just shows us some time has taken place as we've digested that move. So right now we're bouncing into the cloud. That was acting as resistance. Next chart here is just simple anchored VWAP, right? I know you guys have Brian Shannon on all the time, a mentor of mine. This is an anchored VWAP from all-time highs. So what this tells us is the sentiment, and it says, okay, if somebody entered the market and started buying at the worst possible moment, which is currently all-time highs, and was dollar cost averaging into this trade, their price sits around 540. The end of that line right now. That will obviously move as candles go on, but I would like to see this reclaimed and some time spent above, not just, ticked above for a second and then closed below. I want to see a solid close above this. I want to see that there's some interest above this anchored VWAP for a period of time. That would start to get me, again, interested in loading up into some more longer term longs. And again, that's sitting around 540. Now, the next chart I have is our new go, no go indicator. And this is something that I covered again. This uses a bunch of trend indicators, and it uses those trend indicators stacked together to define trend. So if the bars are blue, it means it's a weight of the evidence approach. So there are more indicators pointing up, saying we're in an uptrend. If it's purple, then there's more of these indicators pointing in a downtrend. And you can see right now it's deep purple. It's as much of a downtrend as we can get for the daily chart. So that's another indicator that I'm going to look at. Can we get into the light blue or ideally dark blue, showing that these indicators are shifting? These are slower indicators that are kind of under the market. I can't give away the code, obviously, but these are very good indicators that are under the market that you don't generally see in price. So I want to see those start to flip blue, or at least orange, which is the neutral color. But now that we're dark pink, again, I'm kind of in wait and see mode. Last but not least is just pure price action, right? We have this gap, and that gap is sitting around 540, the same as the moving average cloud, the same as the VWAP, and it's the same as I would bet until the candles start to turn blue again. So that gap is sitting around 540. So all of this evidence is basically just to point to the fact that I'm not bullish right now, and I'm not bearish right now. This could just turn into a high volatility range, a mess, while everything that went on with Japan, which we talked about on Monday, just works its way through the market. So until all of those indicators are kind of lined up, what you're going to see from me when I come on the show is a lot of things pulling back to anchored VWAPs, or things bouncing into moving averages, or less of this, I like this stock, I want to hold it for a couple weeks as it breaks out. That's what we've been doing a lot on this show for a long time, because that's what the market trend was giving us, is these nice solid breakouts and these trend continuations, until, again, the lows of Monday are broken. or this kind of 540 area is broken and held. I think we're in a range-bound mess, and that's just how we're going to have to play it. So again, all of this is not to predict direction. It's just to say this is what I would need to see in order to get bullish again and change my playbook from mean revision and buy the dip, sell the rip to more trend-following action.
We've been in such a slow, steady, methodical grind higher and a very, very strong trend higher for so long. People might be seeing this environment, higher volatility, kind of back and forth, choppy action for the first time. There's an argument to be made, I think, for being patient and being willing to wait and maybe give up a little bit of price action back higher to ensure that we are in fact confirming that this was just a pullback and not necessarily the start of, as you were saying, maybe weeks, we don't know, weeks, maybe even months of just sideways chop.
Yeah, and that's a famous, I think it was Jesse Livermore that said it first, but Richard Dennis, who was the turtle trader guy who trained all these turtle traders to be trend traders, always said that the first 10% and the last 10% of a trade are the most expensive, right? Well, what we're looking to get as trend traders is that meat in the middle. So it means we are always going to miss the bottom and we are always going to miss the top. So that's why I build this kind of weight of the evidence type of approach where I have a level and I have what I want to see. And it just means if that was the bottom, then I missed it and I'm going to be buying at higher prices. But I'm totally okay with that because if we're going to go to all-time highs and beyond, there's plenty of time to get involved. Until then, I'm a shorter-term trader and I'm just kind of trading ranges like everyone else.
Yeah, time frame is key, as always. Your approach and time frame overall is the key there. Great stuff. Michael Moss, have a great weekend.
Talk to you soon. Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you as always, Michael. I think, the good thing about that, when you call it like a high volatility chop, for us as day traders, there's just nothing wrong with that. Because if you're going to sit in the range in the futures, like we have, it's been a wide one. Look at this week. We haven't broken, we didn't break last week's top. We made a very distinct bottom when everybody was panicking. But then in the meantime, you've had these V's back and forth, which provide you with things like Palantir, Palantir post earnings, does a huge move post earnings, and every single day, look at the moves you're able to get down and back. Yesterday was only run up; it never even gave you the push in back to the downside. Then we talk about, and that's Palantir. Where we talk about something like an Nvidia, which in the last 2 days you've had fail 108 to go to 98, which was already support. You've had 98 all the way back almost to the top. Now we're testing the highs. If you can fail that high, you could easily be back down adjacent to some of these bottoms at 98 to 100. Those are big opportunities out there available for the taking as long as you're willing to respect those key levels. In a big volatility chop, if you're looking for support and resistance, there's going to be so many great places to be able to play off of. I could just pull up, I know Tesla, but I can pull up Tesla 204 up top here in Tesla with 190s at the bottom. And shout out to you, Kazro. Tesla's got some work to do to get to 174. And I know to me, when the call was made last week, Tesla will see 174 by next Friday. As far as I'm concerned, to get down to 182 already on Monday, that's basically a win on that call. Let's be real, because I think when you made the bet, you were probably in the 30s, and making that call late in the day on Friday, I think was still a bold one. But I don't know that we're going to see 174 today on Tesla. And if we do, it means that we have a new range, which would be exciting anyways. Because if you break 190 today, some serious opportunities are out there for the short. So there's nothing wrong with a very volatile chop. We should like that as day traders in here. And it's already 9 o'clock. Let's get to the screen. We've got some upgrades and downgrades with Adara.
Earnings name from last night kicking off this list. Paramount here getting an upgrade from Wells Fargo. We have PayPal getting an upgrade from Daiwa Securities. Wolf Research getting Truist. And we also have Confluent here getting this upgrade from JP Morgan Chase. On the downgrade side, Bumble, recent earnings miss, still trading lower today with this Susquehanna downgrade. Shopify actually getting a downgrade here by DZ Bank, despite a pretty strong post-earnings reaction over the last 2 days. We have L3 Harris getting a downgrade from Morgan Stanley. And last but not least, JP Morgan Chase downgrading Cars.com, guys.
Yeah, I was just telling Obi, like I had forgotten about the continuation, like down, like the companies that went down, like a Bumble here. And when I look at it,
How did that
you know what? Do we have
yesterday?
locates on this? Let's go. Okay, we do. We just want to double check. We got locates on it here, real trading. It's easy to borrow, but Bumble was a huge gap down that just only rallied SSR, so it'll be short sell restricted again today because it was down over 10%. I mean, you've got like a day two play. The bid off 5 was nuts when it caught it here. Let's go to a 3-minute chart for you to be able to see a little bit better. Like, look at what it did at 5. Break it. Kind of trap everybody underneath, but not even break 480. And then when it held 5, it absolutely ran. So that could be interesting if it were to pop back down into some key levels. Like if it maybe like 530, like this level here, and then obviously in and around $5. Sometimes it's that day 2 where it's short sell restricted the second day that people aren't paying attention to it, and then it really starts to go. So yeah, I might put this one on the back burner, Bumble, in case there is a big enough dip.
Yeah, I like that. Again, one of them on the board that I'm already watching was Paramount. So Paramount actually had earnings today, and take a look at this. A little bit of a break-in trend of the past couple of weeks there on this. Yes, sure, we've been selling off a little bit since about July, and even a little bit before that right here. But shorter term, this price action off of earnings has broken past a little bit of a downtrend that we've been having right there. Boom. Look at that clean downtrend. You break that pressure comes in right here. Horizontal support and resistance. Hello, right there. Look at that support right on top of 11s. Right on top of 11s. We break down a little bit below that. And then earnings reaction high, where that strength comes in. Take a look at where that buying gets stopped in its tracks, right at 11. So should be interesting going forward today. And a little bit of another name as well, Confluent in there. So CLT, interesting. But I don't necessarily trade this ticker very well. I don't remember the last time I touched this, but they did have earnings recently. They've kind of bottomed out and starting to catch a little bit of a curl over the past couple of days with a 17.23 low, trading at 20.50 as of right now in the pre-market here. But overall, bigger picture, a bit of a downtrend on this one as well. So I like that.
54.48, guys. That's where we closed out yesterday on the ES September contract. We're still, 53.48, guys, that we closed out at. Let's look at the overnight high, 53.72. If we breach that, we're going to be looking at 5,400 as that level of resistance to the downside, looking to protect us from more down movement here, 5,300 as that level of support.
A lot moving around here on a Friday morning. Let's get into what you need to know. If you haven't done so, go down to the description of this video, hit the link to the watch list, enter your email address, and then you get that sent to you every single day for free. Comes right to your inbox. Hey, that Rocket Lab is up this morning. I just saw RKLB moving around here a little bit. Not a lot of volume, but 700,000. Almost 800,000 shares. Nvidia, let's talk about some semiconductors, because what a day it was over the past couple of days here. What a move it was, I guess, over the past couple of days here. 7+%, as I was mentioning, for SMH. If you go out to the group itself, led the rally all the way back yesterday. Nvidia specifically, pretty impressive. There's nothing significant as far as news is concerned here, but held $100 here to the number almost, and working its way back higher. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it was a very good day for microchips yesterday. They were all green without exception. Today we get more positivity from another semi-chip, the biggest of the foundries right now, Taiwan Semiconductor, reporting their month-over-month result, and it was really good. 44.7% year-over-year increase in revenue for July. The cumulative revenue for the first 7 months of 2024 now is above 30% at this time last year. They raised their third quarter guidance as well to reflect the continued demand for their AI chips. And just to name some of the people that they make chips for, Brendo, it's Apple, it's Nvidia, it's AMD. They make 66% of the world's advanced chips.
Not to name drop, but it's good to be TSM.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's always good to have a monopoly or whatever. It's not. Whatever. There's other people out there. When you're that big, it's essentially a monopoly, which obviously is great for them. I do like what I'm seeing with TSM holding above this gap here. And I want to put up let's put up the daily chart here. It's been an unbelievable rebound for TSM on the week. Like this is, like that's pretty extreme. Like that's very extreme. And it's hard to look at something like this, get right into what was the lower high off of earnings at about 170, 171 in here. So there's your report, there's your lower high at 171. It looks very strong on the week, but it's like if it doesn't get through 171, wouldn't there be some sellers in here? So I'd be a little bit cautious on TSM, particularly because you've got, like it looks like a nice 15-minute that you're like, oh, it's gapping above. You know, you kind of hold this level here. That's fine. Like if it holds 167, you could have an inside day that gives you $3 or $4. There's nothing wrong with that. But as far as like breaking out and going nuts, I feel like there's going to be sellers at that level. And that brings me back to the name that we've been looking at all week. And look, Nvidia yesterday, the idea was to short off of this high into 98. That worked. Then it was a rip your face off rally the rest of the day, which is now culminating with Friday's last week close already in here, and then a double top at 108.80. So that's a close here, but this top is 108.80. The high from Friday is 108.80. So if this pops and fails up there, I feel the same way about shorting in that as I did shorting in there on Nvidia. Dip levels are there aplenty, whether you like 102, whether you like the 100 even, or this little pivot in the afternoon at 104, which I think we're testing pretty much right away. There's great levels here on Nvidia, but if it cannot break out this high on the week, that's a reversal play for me. And I know you feel this way too, but it feels like Intel might have caught a bit of a bid.
Yes.
Here's the only thing, I have a rule about these when you dump on earnings and you make a bottom, which is there's your double bottom, I then want to see you break out resistance, the first level of resistance, which technically it didn't really do. I think it needs to get above about 60 in here, like 2060, right where it crested, maybe even like the 70 or 75. So all it did is bounce double bottom and then get back to the first resistance level without actually breaking it. So it's kind of caught a bottom, but until it breaks a top, it's technically still, you know, holding on to those lows. So I'm going to be watching this for a potential breakout. If it doesn't happen, you could be right back at 19.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely watching the chips. We saw what happened with Nvidia yesterday, a little bit of a shake and bake off that 102, and then bids right back up into some of these prior weekly resistances here. Prior to the Monday's gap down, some of these highs coming in at 108. Look at that in the pre-market, we already clipped that 108. Prior day highs as well. You see we wick off of that area, 109s, just shy of 109s. And yeah, so let's see if we kind of continue sideways here. Does this sell pressure come back in? Now I want to throw up some of these lines on the chart as well. Bigger picture, kind of we've been trending a little bit lower off of all-time highs, 141s right there from the pre-market session, and I think the intraday is like 140.80 something. Like that, but again, lower lows and lower highs as well. Bit of a gap down this week coming in. Let's see. I think that if we do bid up, the trend of resistance is all the way up here at 115s. That's about 10 points away. But this is looking very interesting to me. After hours, wick high. And then next morning, wick high as well. So again, going into the close and going into the open, some of the most volume that's usually done on the ticker, and then that is what's showing us a little bit of that sell area there, just in and around that 109.25 I have as that, and we're just hovering right underneath that as of right now, trading at 105.37. So definitely gonna be on watch on this. Again, got to confluence it with a little bit of some of those levels on the NQ that we've been kind of closely watching. But yeah, I was talking to Neil about this. We've had, if you go to the weekly chart, we've had weeks that were like red weeks, right? So this is the first green week in about 3 weeks here. So it should be interesting to see whether or not this trend kind of continues, or bigger picture, we're gonna just start bidding right back up again. You can see that last time we have a heavy dip was in March earlier this year. Strong four red weeks in a row, and then once that green week showed up again after these consecutive red weeks, we just started bidding up once again. So I'm curious to know how we end off the week after a strong sell-off on Monday, And then going into next week as well, I think that the week close could be interesting today.
Neil, you were just talking about this MGOL, huge day yesterday. I don't see anything new for this one today, but tested 6 already up there in the pre-market, again, 56%. So we'll keep an eye out for MGOL. Went out to a weekly chart here. That's Bitcoin turning into a nice green candle, reversal candle here on BTC for the week, holding 60,000 and then some. Trying to get back up to these highs, 65, 66 was that 2021, 2022 high. I mean, overall, this very constructive at the end of the week for BTC.
Absolutely. Record-breaking Thursday, Brendo, with respect to inflows into the spot ETFs. $194 million flowed in. The most amount that flowed in was to IBIT, BlackRock's iShares, with $157 million there. It looks like there's a lot of institutional adoption now in Bitcoin. For example, the state of Wisconsin Investment Board purchasing $99 million worth of IBIT. The state of Michigan Retirement System, $6.6 million in ARC. And then, you know, obviously a lot smaller, the Retirement Planning Company of New England, about $250,000 in Grayscale's GBTC, which continue to see the most amount of net outflows.
Yeah, I mean, still a fee-related story, I think, for that one, the most expensive one on the management side. But a nice bounce, guys. I just went through a few of these, all the ETFs, Coinbase even, back to the upside here.
Yeah, it's an impressive bounce. Look, the market's been doing a good job, but the fact that you get as high as like that 62.8, and you know we're holding on to 60,000 here on the way back in. I just feel like as long as we're above that and we don't give everything, well, I mean, not everything. We're not going to give everything back up this week, but as long as you hold on to the 60,000 level, don't really truly lose that support that you had at 59 briefly. There's a lot that's setting up. The problem I have with Coinbase is when I sat down, we were at those highs on the week, and there was at least a decent chance that you were going to be breaking out. And you can't just have like breakout after breakout after breakout as your trade ideas, because what happens if Apple doesn't break 214 and Nvidia doesn't break 109 and Coinbase doesn't break 199 or 200 and Palantir doesn't break 30? Like if all of those things don't happen, then what? So I'm looking if there is a dump on dump in the market, or a dump that holds on to that support in around 59. You do have this little level all week long. It's not that little, it's 183. So you've made a higher low bottom, a bottom here, resistance there. There's just been a lot going on at that 183 spot, and it's close to the middle. So I do like a bit of a dip here if we can hold on. But if we're losing 59,000, I don't want to be on the bid of coin. It's just, it's not going to happen. But as long as we're holding that, if there's a bounce to be had on coin, it's the 83. I did initially think breakout through 200 on Coinbase, but that's not where the stock is trading. It's trading right in the middle of the range. So got to be patient with it. When we're up at the highs, it was a potential breakout at the open. Now that we're not, it's just I have to wait to see which direction we're going to go. You have obvious top and bottom to play with. And it's like we said with Michael, if you're not breaking out of the range, then you have to be patient enough to wait for the edges to get your fills.
Yeah, no, for sure. Watching that BTC strong bounce with some elevated volume coming off of that 50 thou right there. So yeah, a little bit of an interesting push right there. You can see a little bit of a double bottom right on top of that 50 as well. A lot of volume getting churned and kind of transacting with that 50,000 area there. Continuation to the upside. Coinbase, Mara, Riot, and then now, Neil, MSTR as well. MSTR a little bit more available in terms of muted volatility. So you can kind of watch this name as well. We just had earnings prior week coming into Friday there, a little bit of a gap down again with the rest of the market here. And yesterday we trended up into that 140, 144, 143 level going into the after hours, taking a little bit of a pullback back down into these intraday highs as well. So yeah, MSTR could be an interesting look as well. Now, of course, you like to trade some of these ETFs. There's IBIT that's been doing some decent volume, and look at that, a significant gap down on this one, gap down over about 20%. there off of Friday's close, and we've been only trending up. We did a gap fill again in the after hours yesterday, and let's see where we go from here. We've already filled the gap. Oh, wow, look at that. A little bit of a double gap fill, maybe, potentially.
Year-over-year increase.
Yeah, we're just talking about Nikola here. Big pop, not a lot of volume behind this, but just took out 850 there. So Nikola just reported, apparently. So 31 million in Q2 top line revenue is the best ever for a quarter, up 318% from Q1 for NKLA. Again, not a lot of volume behind this, but a little bit more coming in here now. But we'll keep an eye on Nikola going forward. Anyways, let's talk about Micron here. We had that nice move yesterday. Initially, anyways, they announced they were going to reinstate their buyback. It did nothing but sell off the entire day after the initial gap to the upside. If I zoom in here, it'll give you a better perspective. Or 2 days ago, I should say. Yesterday was positive. We're back downside ever so slightly. I mean, a couple of analyst notes here on MU.
Yeah, MU and Dell, Breno, they're both getting removed today from the Bank of America Global Research from their U.S. #1 list. I actually just looked to see when they added Dell into that list, and that was earlier this month, so I'm not really sure why it's being removed. Not earlier this month, sorry, earlier in July. I'm not sure why it's being removed so quickly. Haven't had an opportunity to read the commentary here, so just reporting the news to you. No real details yet.
Yeah, I mean, we just touched. I can't stop watching Nikola here. 11% for Nikola. We talked about Micron a little bit earlier. Semis in general pretty strong here, but nice pop here, guys, for Nikola.
Yeah, that thing's moving around. Earnings day.
Well, I mean, you got to put things into perspective with Nikola, don't we? I'm not. I know I do this a lot, and apologies to anyone that owns Nikola, but this is a weekly chart of Nikola. I'll zoom it right in so you can get in perspective of that candle. And just the last thing, I mentioned this about Micron. If we do get a breakout, let's say we break out 109 on Nvidia, and let's just imagine a world in which I'm not long Nvidia over that breakout, and imagine a world that I don't try to pick up AMD on that breakout or something along those lines. If after all of that, Micron is still available and it's holding above 94, that would be a bit of a play. But we just talked about the chips, and laser focus will be on this area here. I think there's a lot of trading to be had if we get there on Nvidia over Micron. And as far as Nikola goes, there's always a chance. I mean, 25% short float. There's always a chance. You very clearly had a level here at $8 that if it can just manage to hold the line on usually the inevitable selling that comes in at 9:30 when the market opens, if it can hang on to that, I think there's always a chance here because of the 25% short float. Not usually overly excited until you're really breaking out bigger levels, and that's not filling in, so I'll just do this again. Unless you're breaking out big levels for a squeeze, like there's the 8 level that I was referencing, but if you're not getting out and about above 10, you just have all of this chop where there's clearly week-long bag holders all over the place on Nikola. So yeah, it's not that exciting for me. Like, we're not talking about Palantir, so I'll give you an example of something I like a little bit better for a key level. Palantir, wild last couple of days, continuation plays after earnings, right into a $30 level. And PLTR, when you drop it on the weekly chart, this 30 level on the weekly is one of the most interesting price levels that you're going to see today that has a good chance of getting tested. That's 30 all over the place. Now, it is Palantir, and when I say that, I mean, the first time it tests it, it's probably going to stop everybody out that's breaking long. And if that's going to be the case, we've seen this before. Like, what happened when it tried to break out the day after earnings right here? Like, it tried to break the top, stops people out, makes the bottom at a clear support level, goes right back to the top. When does it break that top? The next day. And then you have a flush at the end of the day. When does it break that top? The next day. So I think if you're looking for strength in Palantir, the dip seems like it should be this zone in here, just out and about in front of 28 even. So if we get a chance to play off of that into 30, as opposed to just hammering 30 long, I think that should be the look here on PLTR. So there's a lot of interesting things to play. And if Palantir's wrong and Nikola's right, more credit to everybody that trades Nikola.
Yeah, see that, again, Micron kind of looking similar to some of these semis here, some of the chip sector with some of the multi-day resistance coming in. We talk about how Nvidia is kind of doing that as well. 94 standing right out on Micron there. So let's see if we can get above that 94. A little bit of wick action there, some selling pressure. Apparently, every time it's tested it this week in the pre-market on Tuesday, off of the open on Wednesday. Now in the pre-market once again today, that 94 is acting as a little bit of an area where selling kind of comes right back in. Now again, a little bit of sell pressure from last week, very aggressive on Thursday and Friday with the gap down on Monday. Let's see if we can get above that 94, or are we just in a little bit of a channel here, Neil? Because that's what's kind of standing out to me as of right now. If I can find, oh yeah, it will be here. So right here. Although let's actually take that from there. I like that a little bit better. Boom, boom. That's a little angled, but that's fine. You guys see, you get the gist, right? A little bit of a channel happening on the weekly after a strong leg down prior week. Let's see if we maintain this channel, and then we'll look for a break of the channel again on that. But yeah, you were talking about Palantir, man. Palantir, yeah. We saw that, again, similar kind of story here. We drew this channel here, leg up on earnings, right? Prior to earnings. Some of these anchors are from prior earnings. So we reclaim that leg up, consolidation, and then we break that consolidation in a range high as of yesterday. Let's see if we continue into that 30 with some of this pressure coming off of earnings buying on Palantir. So I like that as well.
Alone tells you something.
Yeah.
CrowdStrike. I mean, we're higher right now, but tune of 1.3%. There's some negative headlines. Once again, more details coming out on the running bill that's mounting here for this outage. That this is just from Delta, $380 million. Costs have ramped up to. There's more details coming out on how Microsoft's going to approach dealing with this. But yeah, that's the daily chart. Off that outage, we're only back to 244, 245 at this point. Slow grind back to the upside here for Crowd.
Yeah, it's a tough look, Brendo. As you mentioned, lots of different revenue hits here. So the total damage, they're saying, about $500 million, $550 million for that outage that happened in July, $380 million of which is a revenue hit, 170 is related to the outage and the recovery, and then 50 is due to the canceled flights. There was about 7,000 flights that were canceled that day. They're basically saying 1.3 million customers were affected, and they're receiving the claims there from those customers. Microsoft's fired back and suggested that, the technology Delta was using was subpar compared to some of the industry standards, and so they did this to themselves, sort of thing.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out here over time. But I mean, we're trying to bounce here, guys. But again, this could be a problem down here. Volume very, very low today.
Yeah, I'd be worried about these guys if the market doesn't catch a bid here today, because if we get a pullback. I mean, I like Nvidia at some levels on pullbacks. I'm gonna like Apple on some pullbacks, but we just talked about Palantir as well. I'm gonna like. Mentioned if we hold on to 59 on Bitcoin, Coinbase has a support level. I don't know that I would want to be on the bid if you lose this top end of the range on Crowd. Because if we lose that, double top, kind of trap some people long. If we lose this here, where is the biggest, all the way down at 230? And then what happens if that goes? So it's been a decent recovery, but as Sharif mentioned, you're coming from so far away. Like 265 was that initial day bounce. And we're still well underneath that. It's as impressive as it's been off the bottom. You've still got a long way to go just to get back to where it flushed to on the initial move. There's so much more left to go here that I'd worry about losing that bid on a Friday. The other side of this coin, Microsoft. In the afternoon, should have shorted Microsoft. I know. Yeah. Didn't do it. I had a choice between two things, and I chose the wrong one yesterday. But Microsoft is right back into where that rollover happened at 405. I think that sets up a really good over-under play for Softy, because it's got room. So many things are at the highs on the week that if you were to try to break, there's just big resistance up there and there isn't as much room. Softy does have some room over that 406. all the way into 410. And then if you go in the other direction, it's got that 400 support. So it is setting up for a decent over-under play there. I got Apple and Nvidia on my mind a little bit more with that. And we'll talk big tech. Actually, we're going to talk big cap tech next. So we'll get into Apple at that point.
Yeah, no, CrowdStrike, we see that the whole story that's been unfolding, and a little bit of a change in sentiment coming in on Monday, right? So that broke that downtrend that we've been having off of the gap down sell-off on CrowdStrike, and I even told myself, I was like, this could be a situational change here, and we could start getting some reversion, and that's what we've been having right here. So you can see CrowdStrike selling off for the past couple of weeks, increased volume since that news, since that event that happened, where everybody kind of had some problems with their software. And we've been selling off since then. We break trend and take a look at that nice little slow grind back up. I do have an alert right here at some of these prior support levels to see if we can get past that 245s.
Let's touch on big tech here to wrap things up. We're trying to bounce. I mean, it was a pretty good day yesterday, even Wednesday. For Apple here, back downside. I picked on Apple a little bit here because it's a little bit weak relative to the overall market, down 0.9%. People were mentioning Alphabet as well, a little bit weak compared to the overall market. This one's had a deep pullback as well. But I mean, if we're going to see any kind of positivity into the weekend here, we're going to need tech to participate.
Yeah, well, we saw a rotation come in like about a couple of weeks ago now. We'll see if that continues. It was a good day for the Mag 7 yesterday. They were all positive, but you still feel like those levels on Apple, that specifically for me, it's that 213, 214 level. There was an area of both resistance and support at that level until we break above and get some sort of trend. I think we whiffle and waffle until, we break out.
Speaking of, there goes CrowdStrike just popping up on a volume scanner in front of me as well. So, yeah, I mean, we're just talking about Crowd, but taking out the highs here.
There you go.
There you go. With 3 minutes to go here. Buy and balance of 600,000 on Nvidia going into the open. Sell and balance of 550,000 on Reddit. Those are the only two of note, at least currently. As far as Apple goes, let's go right quick to the 15-minute. 214 change. So last Friday's bottom, 214 has been resistance the entire way through. I think it's pretty clear. If you get through the quarters, it's got it's got a nice gap to about 220 here for a takeout. So I like Apple, just need us to bust through that 214. And just like Nvidia, I feel like the first time you get there, it's probably a short in front of 214. And then it'll be maybe the second play, some higher lows that you play into it for a break. It's been a range-bound kind of week. And when it's a range-bound kind of week, I feel the first thing I want to do with resistance is respect it, even if I want that to be a long breakout eventually. So with only 2 minutes to go here, I'll be watching, obviously, Palantir. We mentioned Nvidia, Apple will be in play for me as well. Unlikely we break it right away, but we should test that 214 on any strength.
Yeah, when coming to big tech, I got TQs on watch, right? So Nasdaq, again, one of the futures that does have big tech as significant constituents right here. So I'll be looking at the TQs here. I got an anchored coming in off of Monday's dip here. We've traded above that, and a little bit of an anchored from some of these highs as well. So, but yeah, a little bit of a no man's land. We've filled this gap, so that's definitely going to be on watch. What's going on, Sharif?
All right, guys, today we're talking about real-time trading strategies for that earnings release. We've been talking about earnings all week. We'll talk about it next week as well. If you're into that kind of thing, make sure to catch that with Adair and I on How to Trade at 11.
Minute to go in here. A couple of things we didn't mention. One of them, Alphabet has been very weak relative to the other big cap tech names, down around its lows already. Remember, there's been antitrust issues with them. There's battle between them and OpenAI, search, AI, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of weakness built into Alphabet here. If this loses 158 early, this could be like a canary in the coal mine as well. And I just saw Chill Vibes in the chat mentioning that Meta has caught a bid. I didn't see an imbalance on Meta, but that just caught a bid 503 all the way into 508. So a big move up on Meta. I'm just double checking Apple because that's where I'm looking. Slight move to the upside on Apple. Nothing too crazy here on Apple. Watching Nvidia for that 208 level here at the open. So Nvidia, Apple, Palantir's got $1 down before it tests that 28 level that we're going to be interested in. So keep it tight to the vest. Be patient. Range bound week. Let the stock get to your price level before you get in. Let's ring that bell, Adara. 2 and 1. Let's go. And the party is started. Off to the races. Okay, Palantir is going to actually make a move up first. So Palantir might make a challenge at that 30 level, just bouncing off 29. And I've got Nvidia trying to claw its way up past 106. See if we can't test that 108 bright and early here. So Coinbase not doing much of anything. Let's check back in on that move that we just saw in Meta. Yeah, Meta's really carrying. It's about to go green already. Wow, Meta did not get the memo that it was quiet so far in the morning here, Obi, as that is already climbing higher. Let's see what it can drag up with it.
Yes, sir. So I do like this idea here on this ticker, but let's see if it can come
Palantir.
to fruition. Yeah, right off of the open there. So 29 halves, just a holding. VWAP is right there as well that I have. So we're coming into VWAP at 29.46. So a little bit of an interesting place as well. Pre-market lows, 28.99s all the way down at 29s there. But yeah, pre-market highs have already tested that 30 mark at 29.98 as of right now. So let's see if that can potentially come in. But as of right now, just trading within the opening range. 1 minute opening range? Not just yet. Let's wait for the 5 minute opening range as well to kind of really get into the position if it's going to give us what we're looking for.
Unity is absolutely flying to the upside right now, just kind of coming out of nowhere. While nothing's at the levels I want just yet. Unity just hit 15.5 after being down $2 in the aftermarket. This one with a big time breakout, 14.6. That was the aftermarket top. I want to see if it can make a bounce off of that one. But here comes that charge into, yeah, it's all well and good to say you want to get long in the 30.
1,000 lots.
I just saw 1,000. I saw the same thing.
100,000
Palantir at 29.63. If that scares it down, that'll give it a chance to maybe get in off this. I thought we'd get a bigger dip than this.
Yeah, exactly, right? But we already dipped down to 29s in the pre-market and tested that 30. So both kind of interesting places have been tested in the pre-market. Let's see if we can kind of catch a bid off of this 29, or we trade back below down into 29. The market is ripping up 106 on Nvidia, so a little bit of a continuation potentially off of yesterday's mark. And again, those highs that I'm looking at, 109s 25. So we're kind of 3 points away from that. Nvidia trading above 106 or in and around 106 now. Bit of a chop and churn action. That size at 63s got taken, all of it in a single order. Shot. Somebody definitely slapped that out of the way there.
They slapped what?
They slapped that out of the way.
Oh, that was that was low-hanging fruit, man. I set you up. That was on a tee, dude. They slapped that ass.
Not yet. I'm gonna be waiting. I'm gonna be waiting for that slapping to happen at 30, man. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saving that for. If that happens at 30, oh boy, let's go. We're trading 70s right now. So some of these pre-market resistance levels that we still have to kind of get by. It is just chopping and churning right now. 29 halves holding at least for now. So let's see if that can come in. Again, VWAP being at 29.51 now with this price action coming right back into 29.50s. So what's going on, Adara?
Nice volume and price pop here for Eli Lilly, which was spiking on volume here right off the open, getting price target increases from BofA Securities, BMO Capital Markets, Wells Fargo, Leerink, Morgan Stanley, among others here after their earnings yesterday, currently up about 3% after chopping and churning in the pre-market. So LLY back on watch, day 2 earnings, guys.
All right, here Unity just bounced off of 15, but we're getting up close to that resistance on Apple. So we talked about being patient. This is where looking for the short first. If it wants to reverse, I think the market's got to be pretty darn strong to take it in the opening salvo here on Apple. The other thing happening while I'm looking at Apple, trying to press into resistance, is Unity pulling right back into 15. Out in front of the afternoon earnings high is where I want to grab this thing. If we can play that long 15, try to take it back into like 1875. That's the play. We're sitting on the bid of Unity. Looks like Apple doesn't seem to want to get there the first time through. It's finding resistance up around 213.5. So it might not get to 214 right away. Looking for the curl to enter the short here in Apple. As long as it's close to 214 without breaking it, I'm going to like it. That's starting to look a little bit better for me on PLTR. It dipped and broke 50s and then came right and then reestablished the bid. So it's reestablished the bid above the 50 level. I was waiting for a higher low to get set, and it looks like it's trying to do that. But eyes for me are going to be a little bit closer to Apple here as it's starting to churn toward 214.
Yeah, I'm kind of watching across the board as this Palantir pretty much trades in and around the open. Again, opening price at 29.28 as of right now. Trading just below, now we got below VWAP, but again, we're kind of chopping and churning around VWAP there as of right now. Okay, there's potentially some selling coming in, a lot of below the bids. Let's see if that kind of continues coming in. I'm watching some of these prior earnings as well, day 2s and some day 3s here, Neil, and that Shopify attempted to break prior day high, now with a high of 69.14. So let's see if Shopify can continue some of that strength that we saw as well. Some of these chips on the day, again, watching SMH, watching Nvidia as well. AMD actually taking a nice little pull down as well. I said I'd be watching some of Amazon as well. Amazon testing that 167 level. What's going on, Adara?
Smaller earnings name on watch here, ADMA Biologics. ADMA is the ticker for this one. Not a super small market cap, about $2.83 billion market cap, but they reported earnings yesterday after the close, beat estimates across the board for fiscal Q2, and raised their estimates for the fiscal year 2024. So good look here for ADMA, guys.
Yeah, great look for that ADMA. Oh, very quickly here, Apple just came into that 13 again, so it wicked the high right underneath this area here yesterday afternoon. Last afternoon, came back under 13, went short under, stop here, looking for a pullback into 12 as Palantir is starting to go. Palantir is just taking the 70s. Remember, I want to be covering into 30 because I'm actually anticipating an initial fail at the 30 level on Palantir. And if it does do that, I do not want to get wrapped up like giving everything back into 29.50. So I want to take profits into 30 on that one. So there goes Apple. First shot at it. Want to get out because we have to respect that the top is the 214 level. So I wanted to take a couple shots at this, but kind of like Nvidia yesterday, you want to make sure you get it at the right price level and then work back in if you can. So Palantir, I was kind of looking for it to hold, maybe dip a little bit lower. It didn't, but then it put in this move. That's the higher low. That got me in. So I didn't want the breakout, but once it put in the higher low, want to try to respect this 29.50. As I said, 30 is going to be a big, big number. Let me just cancel my Unity bids. Oh, whoops, I just canceled the Palantir offer instead. Wrong level 2. Unity's gone. So remember we're talking about Unity breaking out? Let's go dip buy hunting into VWAP. Unity's about to hit $16.
Oh
I think they trapped shorts last night, or at least got out of some people got out of some longs, obviously. And now you're going flying here on Unity software. It wasn't even like a big beat or anything like that for Unity. It could just be short float, reversal, stocks beaten up on the daily, and you're getting a pretty large breakout on this 15-minute chart for Unity. Yeah, I won't be short in that for sure. BTC apparently moving. Well, I didn't have Coinbase doing anything right now. Yeah, Coinbase is still in the middle of the range, but we'll check out BTC in a second. Got to manage Palantir and be patient with this Apple. Is it still not at 214 yet? Nvidia is doing nothing, by the way.
Yes, sir. Again, Palantir just holding that. I'm watching now Amazon, eyes on Amazon as it kind of breaks that weekly high. Wednesday, we saw a strong sell-off off of that 167.29, and we're trading at just 167.20s right now. So let's see what Amazon will have in store for us. 18.5 on the NASDAQ. Is doing a little bit of a dance here with that price. So let's see if we get a little bit of continuation. Softy with a bounce, Apple with a bounce, and Amazon with a bounce as well. Alphabet also bouncing. We were like, what's happening with this sell-off in the pre-market? Okay, so 75s printing here, 29.75s on Palantir. Let's see if we can print that last quarter into that 30. But yeah, no, I was like, okay, Google, what's happening with this one? Sold off below prior day's lows into prior day's pre-market consolidation lows right here. What's interesting is that 158.58 before the current all-time highs were made. those were the all-time highs on Google, and that's where we've bounced off of not only yesterday's pre-market consolidation lows, today's pre-market consolidation lows as well. So a little bit of an interesting level as well. What's up, Adara?
Some other smaller earnings names to be aware of as they make some moves. We have Nikola, NKLA. This one mentioned earlier, initially pushing higher here into that 980 area, pulling back a little bit, but lots of attention for this one on social media. It did just report earnings this morning. We also have here on watch SKIN. This is Beauty Health. They reported earnings after the close yesterday. Missed on sales and earnings per share. Forecast lower than expected Q3 and fiscal 2024 net sales, but currently actually holding after getting a pop to the upside. So just be aware, SKIN, NKLA, guys.
Yeah, I'll also be aware the 5.9 is, it's not $9 lower, so I can't really say that. But halted to the downside at $29.95. That just fell off a cliff after already being down after the report. So it's probably a 5-minute halt, a volatility halt on the 5.9 here. If this opens up and tries to roll over again, it could just be a big bleed. It is going to be SSR. I quickly wanted to point it out. I know I said that Nvidia was likely to get to resistance first for a breakout. And then if I missed that Micron could be adjacent. Well, Micron's already at 94. So right at that resistance spot, I don't even like what Nvidia is doing at this moment. Like Nvidia is just not moving. No test to the top, no tests down around afternoon levels. Just feels a little bit weird what we're seeing here on NVDA. I'd like to see it catch that bid. It's trying to hold up here at the 106, but if we don't actually get up to that 108, the fade could end up being on here on NVDA. Palantir, it looks like it's pulling right back in. I think it made some sense to be taking profit. It got to the pre-market high, and it just did not fly into 30. And that was a brick wall at 75. So I'm out of most of it, looking for another higher low to be played. Looking a little bit weak here on Palantir after that initial break. That was a fail break on Micron. I'm going to try a little bit of a cheeky short here when I see this weakness in chips.
Yeah, strong wick action happening off here, off of the 18.5 as of right now. I can see Softy's 15-minute candle with only about just shy of 3 minutes left to print, wicking hard back down off of pre-market levels. Some of the interesting levels there, 406. We just push right back down and back through VWAP on Softy there. Palantir still holding that 29 halves. A lot of volume kind of going in here. Again, we saw a lot of significant size kind of go in at a random price. 29.60 was a 63, 64s in one of those, and we're trading in that pretty much in that range as of right now. 18.5 wicking. I like that action. Let's see if this Amazon can pull back in off of some of these weekly places where we found resistance. Again, Wednesday's high, 167.29, and we're trading just below 167 as of right now as the NQ pulls aggressively back in. Take a look at this 15-minute candle. We only have just under 2 minutes left to print this, and we are wicking hard off of 18.530s apparently.
Yeah, it's looking a little bit peckish there. And if we grab Micron on that fail break, again, it's a key level. Market's reversing. You didn't break through those highs from last week. This got there first. I mean, what can I say? Like, Nvidia never got there, but this one certainly did. So we're in the Micron off of that 94 level. Just going back over to Palantir, I did get a reload. So it wicked underneath, did not break the 45, and then came back above 50. So I did get a bit of a reload. If it gets up to the 75 zone, going to have to ring the register again because the sellers are clearly there. And the 5.9 opens up and is trying to catch a bit of a bid. If this curls off VWAP, like bounces and curls off VWAP, that might be a re-engage the short. Wow, it's already starting to tank again here on 5.9. I thought it was going to be a bounce after that halt. So far, not good for 5.9. I just realized I should just ensure we have locates on this one. Yes, we do. We can go short. Wow, that's continuing to break down. It looks like there isn't a bid on the 5.9. Halt price down was $29.95. If it can't get back above 30, this one could be in for another leg down. Micron's starting to work to the downside, but I want to keep my eye on this one as it tries to come into VWAP. Get down.
Yes, sir. So this Amazon did pull back quite nicely, about a point off of its highs right now, coming right back in. What is the opening price, you may ask? 166.40s, and we're pulling into that opening price as of right now. Questioning myself if I should take a back through open. We could, again, we're within range of pre-market there. Okay, so Palantir also
Palantir lost support.
Just right there. Yeah, it's trading below that VWAP as of right now. Where is VWAP on Palantir, you may ask? 29.53s. Again, just chopping around 10, 15 pennies in and around that area, around VWAP. Let's see if VWAP, again, acts as a little bit of support, acts as a little bit of resistance. I have no idea, but we're trading above the opening price. We are trading in and around VWAP, and we're trading above this 29. We've been trending up on this off of that 29 bounce as of right now. So let's see. Strong. Look at this wick on the 15-minute on the DAC and the ES right now, Neil.
Yeah,
oh boy. Oh boy. What does that set us up for? I have no idea, but that's a nasty little can.
You're a regular Sam Beckett over there.
Yeah,
oh boy. There's no chance we're gonna get that one. So I got out of Palantir on that. I'm gonna get to the 5.9. It just popped back into the 30 level. I'm taking a shot at that one underneath the halt price. But Palantir, for myself, like I had long here, that's gonna be my out. It just stopped out, so we did take profit on the way, but we got back into it. The reload doesn't work. If it can just reestablish, it would be lower highs still. So I don't love it, but I gotta still like it because it's forming a bit of a wedge pattern. Gonna look for that re-entry point. The 5.9, I keep wanting to say Royce, the 5.9, but I don't know how many people are gonna get that reference. 5.9 continuing to fall here, just made a fresh low through 29. So that's the 1-to-1, as this one looks like it's absolutely flushing. I meant to go to the higher time frame than my dailies have been doing this the whole way. So we'll do it this way, pop out a weekly, because when a stock is down this far, don't waste your time going to the daily chart, go right to the weekly to see. There is nothing out here. This goes all the way back the entire year on a weekly. I have to zoom it way out. Suffice to say, you don't have much of anything till $27.5 on the 5.9. Now, I'm not saying it's getting to $27.5, but if it never regains 30, that's where I'm going to be looking for it. So that's starting to work to the downside. Micron just popped into VWAP in here. Let's get some out on VWAP. The reversal in the market didn't give me the one I wanted, which was Nvidia 108. But Micron 94 happened, and the 5.9 came out of nowhere to flush.
Yeah, we were also looking at TSM as one of the chips there. TSM selling off quite aggressively right off of the open. Their 170 pre-market highs opening up in and around, what's that opening price? I see here on the 930 candle, 166.32 is trading at 163.86 as of right now. Amazon just teetering on its VWAP, again, below that 167 level. So let's see, this 15-minute candle on both the futures has me a little bit biased on some of the moves here. AMD coming down as well. And again, if you're trying to play some of the tech sector, some of the semis here, SMH and SOXL, SOXS could be interesting as well. SOXL, I'm watching here, nice little strong downtrend, pretty much from the pre-market session. 32.86s are the highs, all the way from 4:30 this morning. So let's see if that can potentially give us a little bit of a test, or do we kind of revert some of yesterday's price action? But Neil, Tesla coming back into that 200. We've chopped around it. We've watched it a lot.
Yep.
I don't know if 200 is really a level anymore, but those 202s, that 202 area, 203s, that's a little bit more interesting to me. Also, Palantir trading back up in the 70s. 2970s coming in here. 67s trading back above on Amazon as well. Let's see if we can get to that 30.
No, that Tesla, you said 03. I have 04.
Yeah.
On the 15 for Tesla. It's not that big of a difference. I just think a little bit more overhead is that resistance spot. But you're right, like 03 down here, there was one wick up to 04 on Tesla. 5.9 does not hold on to that 30 level. So the only trade ended up being 29.70s down into 29 where it bounces. So halt down, bounces off 29. I get the rest out just pretty much at the $30 level. Don't want this retracing as far as it went to the downside. You know, if that's all it's going to give post halt, I'm not holding it back into VWAP. We'll see what we can get back in. And as you mentioned, Obi, Palantir looking like it's going to be the second salvo that we want. So it's trying to hold on to VWAP. Just remember, it still can't get through 29.75. You're still having the same problem at the same level.
The seller has to lift, or the selling has to lift in that area, whatever.
Yeah, I'm actually considering if I want to go long 80s into 30. That way you don't have to be long 30. I don't want to be long 30 on Palantir. I want to be long a price under 30 into 30. Let's see if I can buy this dip here in the 50s. I'm on the bid in the 50s on Palantir, but I don't want to be hitting the top on PLTR at all.
That's kind of what I like to do in a sense, where I'm like, okay, if I like a level and things are building up into it, I kind of want to take inventory in and through that level as well. Again, just something that I've been trying out more often as of recent. 2960s trading right now, so pretty much within the opening range there. So Palantir, again, I've accepted the risk. I definitely need a lot more to really take this move, but the move is not there right now, in my opinion. So let's see if and when it does come in, maybe we take some more there. 167.20 is coming back in on the Amazon. So are we going to violate some of that high, some of those highs there on Amazon? I'm more than willing to get out, reassess above the high there. If we're going to trade above some of these significant levels, maybe we flip the script and go the other way. But we shall see here. That initial wick. Little interesting price action there. Trading back down into 29.55s here. Some size. You know what? I should probably pull up the book for you here. This one kind of lags on the update, the ones on this screen here. So I do have to kind of do that. Palantir, it trades on the NYSE. So let's do that real quick. And then this one, we got to be watching Amazon on the DAC. So back down under 67s here. So again, I'm going to be patient. We're still trading within the opening range on the NASDAQ. The ES kind of trading below. So let's see, a little bit of patience might be in store for me. What are you guys trading? I need to kind of I guess watch this Amazon a little bit closer. I think as it chops around one of an interesting level. I do have charted. Forex AU saying short Intel. Okay, let's take a quick look at
that.
Intel.
Usually works.
Yeah, it's been working. Okay, I see you.
That wasn't a joke, Sharif. No, it wasn't joke. Sharif literally laughed when we said short Intel. That usually works. No, it's been a short for a few days now.
I mean, it only did not really work yesterday.
Yeah.
Did not work at all.
Okay, so go ahead. Sorry, but it's weak. It's underneath VWAP the whole way here. Like, what's not to like about it? Let's go up to the desk with Adara and come back and talk a little bit about Intel, the chips, and some of this market move.
This part of the show is brought to you by Benzinga Pro. Tired of being late to the trade? Always playing catch up in the market? Missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? Benzinga Pro is your unfair advantage. Get breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everyone else. Pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving, and join a thriving community of traders who share their strategies in real time. Ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? Visit benzinga.com/pro and get a free 14-day trial.
Thank you very much, Adara. And just to that point, I don't know if you guys saw the chart, but that's what Intel's doing, down 3%, riding VWAP. So pretty clear, if it doesn't break VWAP, it's going to flop. I don't have anything better than that. And I do, RD in the chat rightfully pointed out, I owe Obi an apology. You did get the reference, oh boy, so it's fine there, because you got that, right?
I didn't even catch what you were.
Oh, no, the Sam Beckett. No? Okay. Oh, that's fine. I thought someone was saying you did get that reference from a Quantum Leap. That's an old school show. Because you say oh boy all the time, and the whole gag is that the guy says oh boy in every single episode he would say oh boy.
Oh, okay. No, I don't.
Every
I'm
episode.
not too familiar.
The remake's trash. I shouldn't say that. The remake's not that great, but the original was pretty good. The market, as you just said, Obi, it feels like we're waiting for something in the market. I can't agree with you more.
Eerie little feeling in this price.
I'm glad that Micron was pointed out to me at 94 because waiting for Nvidia to get to 108 was a complete waste of time. Nvidia here's lower highs, trying to hold on to the 104 level. Meanwhile, heck, man, Micron got to 94. So what are you doing wasting your time? Now, Micron broke out from 92. It's got a previous close at 92. You know what I'm about to say. If we bounce off 92, I'm taking the money and running. Palantir still cannot break these highs at 75. Good higher lows, reasonable re-entry, nothing doing up at the 75 level. So I've just put another couple of offers in here so that I'll get picked up on the way. For whatever reason, Palantir has got the sellers right at the pre-market highs and right at this 29.75. And until we get through that, there's just not much happening on what could be a massive move into a gigantic $30 level for PLTR. So futures kind of going back and forth here. No defined direction off of these lows. Palantir's got a shot to run that high, but nothing yet. Unity software, I don't know why I said the software part. Unity right back into VWAP. So stair-stepping it into VWAP. Does it have the juice to bounce here? This could get real spicy on Unity if it makes another push off the highs. But it's not very strong going into VWAP on Unity. I don't know if I want to be sitting on this bid. I think I want to catch it on some strength if we can. 200,000 on the bid just got filled. One shot at 1548 right here on Unity. Somebody likes it at that price at least.
Yeah, so I did get stopped out here on the Amazon, and then it pulls right back in. So I did get, I'm going to try it one more time here just to see if that'll come in here. Yeah, let's see if we kind of pull back. A little bit of a double topping action as of right now on the Amazon. But again, let's see if it kind of pulls back in, or we could just kind of consolidate chop. We still haven't broken. We're attempting to break pre-market highs, and it's kind of not really going right now. So let's see if it's kind of winding up. Oh, there we go. Are we testing? So we did test that 18.5 once again, and we pulled right back off of it. How much time is left on this 15-minute candle now to print? Only about 3.5 minutes, Neil. And look at that. Palantir still within the opening range.
You got to bring that register, I think.
It's going to be a lot of orb players on this one, I have a feeling. We were talking about this. This trade can get a little bit crowded, right? You were saying that Palantir's ticker, that tends to get a little crowded, moves not necessarily clean half the time if it's anticipated by most.
Well, there's the 92 bounce, so it's not necessarily the gates of hell. Yeah, my stream deck, man, I'm telling you, Fabian. It was a bounce off 92. I said if I saw strength or any bounce there, we'd take it out. The 92, that's where we closed, key price level. So 94 to 92, we'll take the couple of bucks. But while that was happening, Unity, I decided, let's see what happens if that buyer ends up holding up at that 48 level. So I quickly joined. It immediately, after holding the level for a couple of seconds, just took out the bid. So not a lot of strength. Don't want to be in without the strength. So I just quickly jumped out of it. I want to see it holding VWAP and maybe some higher lows. And some concern here. Palantir going to retake these bottoms. Again, you had to take profit in front of that 75. I got one fill, but not both of them. So we're still in this. Thankfully, we're able to get out of half. But if we lose this local support on Palantir, we could be headed downside right quick. MMAT, another halt. Another halted stock, distinctly worse than the... What the heck is going on with MMAT? Okay, so that's pretty nasty. It was $2, now it's 73 cents, and that's after halting up. So I don't know exactly what the story is, but my guess is this one is not long for the markets at all.
Yeah, so Palantir is selling off of that VWAP as of right now. And the rest of the market as well, as we reject that 18.
Yeah, they must be going
twice.
under.
What's going on, Adara?
So here's what happened here with MMAT. They were saying yesterday, or as of this morning, 9:02 a.m., being reported here, apparently they terminated all of their remaining employees and executive officers. They've ceased operations, and they are filing a voluntary petition for relief, basically through Chapter 7 of Title 11. So basically, U.S. bankruptcy code coming in here for MMAT. Again, to clarify, terminated employees, ceased operations, filing under Chapter 7 here. this follows a couple other series of negative news for this one going back as early as July. So about after a month of struggle here, we have MMAT filing for bankruptcy, 7.6% short float.
Sometimes you just got to make an educated guess. The chart said probably that, but you don't know until you know, and now we absolutely know. Yuck. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on it when it opens back up there, but I wanted to go back over to 5.9 because it's still holding out some of these bottoms. Halt top, $30.50. So I got out when it broke the halt level, but it's still holding like the post-halt top, not up here. So 30.5 is being held. If that loses it, it could also get nasty. But attention to Palantir. After getting out of Micron, Palantir then goes to the next level down. So if we try to scalp out there, don't get it all out, goes right down into the opening range bottom and bounces. That's the only other level until we break 29 even. So we're going to try to give it to that. If we get up to VWAP, I'm taking profits out in front of VWAP. The way this is going down, I want to make sure we're taking some profit going to the downside as the market is starting to flush. Nvidia just lost 104. Micron is testing some of those lows. I want to find my way back into my short. Adara? Oops. Oh, it's 10 o'clock.
Bit of a move down here for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. NASDAQ actually underperforming the S&P 500 a little bit here with that last move down, though they were moving more or less in tandem earlier today. It is a lighter day in terms of economic data. Nothing significant here on the radar all day. We've had quite the week here, though, for these markets. Next week should be interesting as well. We have PPI on watch for Tuesday, CPI on watch for Wednesday. Right now, though, reacting to some earnings and a lot of from the worst day in quite some time on Monday to the best day in quite some time on Thursday. So S&P 500 and these markets definitely trying to find a bit of a direction right now. Quite a few earnings names on watch here today, including Unity Software. They did predict here a little bit lower than expected Q3 revenue, but they beat and their fiscal revenue here was a little bit lower as well for their projection, but they did beat across the board for Q2. We also have ELF here. This one projecting, they did raise their fiscal year 2025 guidance, but they raised it still below analyst estimates. Analysts were looking for $1.3 billion, and that was the top end of their current guidance. They also did beat here, though, for sales. So good look here for ELF. Numbers-wise, down about 14%. Last but not least, TTD, Trade Desk here, they did beat across the board, and their revenue guidance for Q3 a lot stronger than estimates. Had highs of days right now for the Trade Desk guys.
You saw the same thing I saw.
What, on Palantir?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that. Back through open with the bid coming right back in. 29 bounce. Can't even get to 29s there. Pre-market lows right at that 29. So I did get stopped out as we broke below that last quarter below into some of this pre-market consolidation chop or whatever you want to call it. And a strong little bid back up. Let's see if we can get through that VWAP as of right now. VWAP on the Palantir sitting at 29.51. We talk about it taking out players, nice opening break. Range low break, and then back through, not only just a back through open as well as, well, I mean, opening range low is pretty much really close to that opening price as well. Again, bit of a double bottom on top of that 29 in the pre-market right here. Let's see if buying can kind of come in as it did in the pre-market session back through some of these levels here. Amazon still holding in and around this VWAP area. Oh boy.
Yeah. So I mean, I saw that same what do we call it? Burst of buying, let's call it, on Palantir off of that low. So I think I was a little bit slower, to be honest with you. I don't know what key you're using to punch, but I was probably just a fraction after.
Remove the liquidity.
It stopped I know what you use. I didn't use Frex. Yeah. So it hit the bid here. I got in at 38, but VWAP and 29.50 and then 29.75 are still the same barrier that they were before. I'm just going to assume that if there's sellers there before, there's sellers there now, and take profit out in front of it if we are able to get it. So back up through there. Micron's regaining the 92 level. This could be where we got the curl in the market. So this is regaining 92. It actually carried all the way down, not the breakout price, but carried all the way down to this support on Micron. That's a pretty good turn. I got out of the short. Maybe this is a nice little bottom that this one wants to form. That MMAT that we just mentioned, metamaterials, hey, who knew? It's actually bouncing because that's what stocks do sometimes when they're going under, is they catch irrational bids. I'm not trying any longs in this. I might just sit around and see if there's any kind of a curl for a short on MMAT, but I'm not really feeling like a jonesing to go long on MMAT. I know sometimes you get those bounces, but that's not for me. So here comes VWAP in. Love to see the 60s again in Palantir, but that's the zone where we want to try to catch some opportunities for profit. And then Intel, we talked about Intel being relatively weak. It did this at VWAP underneath 20. So I want to keep it simple. I just want to short it under VWAP and give it to this local high up here. And if it continues to trend down for the rest of the day, it has to get through 1970. I think that's the scalp area would be VWAP into this low and then 70. If it breaks 70, Intel's probably toast. We'll see if it can do it. I don't know if it's going to get to that level. I got to get short first off of VWAP. That'd be the first step. And then we'll just play it from there. So here comes the push through 60s on Palantir. I can zoom back in, looking to take some out in the 60s. Now it doesn't even want to get to 60. Let me just quickly move that and sit on the 60 level where it seems to be getting to and wanting to print. Now it's printing 59s. That's how it works sometimes, Obi. It's like the level, I'm only going down as far as 59. Forget that. Give me the fill at 59. There we go. I just moved to 59. I'm not leaving it at 60. If we get 70s next, and then we hold for a push into 30. Because if Palantir is going to be a home run through 30, as I said many times, I don't want to be long at 30. I want to be long into 30. That's the plan of action on that stock. Oh, by the way, Coinbase, huge reversal off of 190 and pressing into $200. So a big move happening to the upside on Coin. Coin's breaking highs. Market is barely getting off of the lows. And just to go all the way over, pardon me here, this is the hold at 60,000 on BTC and trying to take out the top. So very much in play. Coinbase could hit that 200 level as well.
Yeah, we're pushing right back into that 18.5. I get stopped out once again on the Amazon as it pushes or attempts to push right back through that high of day right now. And there it goes, 167.63. So it has broken past its day high as well as pre-market highs. Now, Oscarito in the chat was saying, Obi, don't forget your 3-strike rule. Thanks for the reminder. I definitely will not. I have gotten 2 strikes on the short on Amazon already, and one more, and I will strike out, or maybe I don't even need to wait for that long. If VWAP comes back in and holds and sustains, I will probably switch bias there and take it through weak highs. Weak highs again being, well, I don't know. I guess did we break that? Yeah, we did break 167.57 I had, and then today we're testing 167.63. So we are attempting to break weak high as of right now on Amazon as this market attempts to push right back through that 18.5. So Amazon holds that VWAP. Again, take into account that initial wick candle. I may be getting a little bit anchored to this level here, 167 halves, or 167 20s and 30s. But you know what? If it's going to trade above it, it's going to hold VWAP as well. And we've been trading up into it from prior day. Maybe some of that strength from yesterday, again, being one of the best days in the market for a while. Maybe that buying pressure does continue. There it is, 167.70s coming in now. Let's see if we can get to 168s. Oh boy, what's the next level? Friday consolidation highs, 168.60. So if you were accumulating on top of VWAP here, I guess you were definitely laughing straight to the bank here as 168s are coming in real hot, 167.90s printing now. Spider also trading back above. Can we get back above this 18.5 is what I'm asking. Palantir, though, having some trouble with VWAP.
It is again, so that you, again, I keep saying, like, I'm taking profit on Palantir. I'll reload if it catches another bid comp you care, but you know, it gets above VWAP, it stalls out 60s and 70s, so taking 2/3 out every single time until we break 75. I just want to point out when the market caught that bounce and Intel broke the lows, this is what we were getting at. It was not, I guess I was throwing shade at Intel, but like that's all we're talking about is that we're not, I don't meant to joke about the stock, but market goes higher, it goes lower. So some strong moves out here. Apple pressing 213.5. Micron, which we got out of the short of, this could be a put up or shut up here for Micron as it retests back up toward VWAP. So maybe 94s are in play. Also, maybe we get a shot for a curl lower high off VWAP on this one. You got Unity flying around here, and I wanted to quickly point out, forgot all about Shopify, but Shopify, oh my goodness, it came so close. It broke the double top and then wicked it, maybe got rid of some weak hands here with that bit of a wick out. If it reclaims the top, then we go long and shop. That's not even that good, but that's it. Maybe Shopify breaks the high, I'm going to go long.
Okay, yeah. Sounds like a plan there. Again, we talked about that Shopify potentially pushing. Yesterday was quite strong there, and we did kind of clip those pre-market or end-of-day highs there right off of the open. Oh wow, take a look at Airbnb, man. Airbnb kind of sold off aggressively. Again, earnings day 3, right off of the open. Wicks into some of prior day's levels, not necessarily prior day's highs. Only about 20, roughly about, I guess, 17 pennies off of yesterday's highs, and pulls right back in on Airbnb. Bumble with a little bit of continuation, earnings day 2 on that one. Datadog still holding that range from yesterday. Shopify day 3, like you said, it's holding some of those day 1 consolidation highs right off of the open. One was it 67.75s area ish. Let's see what exactly that price is. 67.77s are the highs of high a day on earnings day 1 on Shopify there. Let's see if this move continues. Palantir now holding above VWAP, but again, still chop, chop, chop. Oh, we did break that 18.5 right now. Let's see if we can violate some of that wick. So definitely have the short idea off of that candle formation off of the open. But again, that could definitely be short. I know I'm definitely not the only one that has that kind of idea. And if we break through that high, short's definitely getting a little bit slapped around. I already got stopped out twice on the short here on the Amazon. So again, with the price action happening on the NASDAQ, I do want to stay a little wary on the short side and maybe even look for dips to kind of sustain to get long. Spider pulling back up aggressively. Nvidia 106 is coming in.
Apple 214.
Apple 214, says Neil.
Apple's about to get to that 214 level. It's a big one. And just very quickly, Abdel Mahad, why didn't you short Intel off VWAP? Ha ha ha, I got the idea from you. That's why. This is, that's the wick. There's my offer. That's me not getting filled. Again, I mean, looking at Palantir, Micron was in play. Shopify just put that stop breakout, and then Apple got right back up to, is getting right back up. You know, you only have so many eyes. Apple was like the first thing I traded, and that's our hit today, was taking the short on Apple. But it's right back up at the 214 level. 214.25-ish is the high on the week for Apple. But to me, before it's a breakout, I do still want to look for the fade. I'm not abandoning the plan. Maybe I'll go with the OB3 strike rule, but it's more about the level. If it breaks quarters, then to me, it's flying. If it fails a break of 214 at that quarter level, then I want to look for a curl in the VWAP. It can still be a long right back into it, but Apple absolutely flying in here with the market. Palantir finally back above 60. Again, I want to be long Palantir into 30. If 30 breaks, it's a hold through, and then maybe play some bamboozlement for others as it goes back to the top. I'm expecting bad things at 30 for Palantir.
The NQ is blasting through those highs there, so definitely some of those selling getting pushed back.
I gotta stop.
And we are experiencing some strength right back in. So some of these pre-market session highs there, just shy of 18,660. We're trading at 18,550s, coming into 18,560s as well. A lot of these tickers, again, especially Amazon, the one that I'm watching out of the Mag 7, showing some aggressive strength off of that weekly high break. We have pretty much filled the gap that we came off of from prior Friday there. Again, 168 and some change. End of day consolidation highs was the second area I did want to watch some of this tape at, and we came right into it, 168.30s, so about 30 pennies away from that. Let's see what happens here with this 168. But yeah, man, the DAC is pushing, the NASDAQ is pushing some of those wick highs, and now the ES has come along as well. So I'm looking at the Spider. Oh boy, Spider continuation, potentially pre-market highs at 533.23. We're trading at 531.60s right now. So the dip got bought and maybe we're looking for a bit of continuation back to the upside today.
Maybe, just maybe, we're going higher. So I said I would be short first at that quarter on, that's how long it lasted, by the way, not long. And then reversed into the long on Apple through that quarter level. So just basically sticking to the plan. We just saw the $0.50 level get tested. It did have an offer at like 47, 48. I got some out in front of that. If you're wondering, zoom it out a little bit so that you can get a better look at Apple through this level. If we hold on to this 14, it's a big gap to Friday. Like last Friday, this was 220 at the close. So if the market breaks it out, this has a very large gap to fill. I think you got to play this all the way back into the 214 level. Palantir is still doing the exact same thing that it was before, so nothing interesting there. But as the market's starting to come up, I'm still offering Intel at what is VWAP, although on a 15-minute you can barely tell. It's VWAP, but I don't have VWAP on a 15-minute chart. But it still can't even get filled on the offer. Market flying can't get hit on the offer of Intel in front of 20. So whatever that means, I'm taking it to mean this should be the short until it's not. If it breaks out here and this is a wipeout bottom, at least I'm losing in the right place on a short trade and not something that's breaking through and cresting through highs. So Apple took one bit out there in front of 15s. 14.5. Want to look 15 next on Apple. Still sitting on the offer of Intel as the market's going up. I feel like that's the next thing to be concerned about.
Yeah, you're watching Apple here. Apple is pushing towards that 214, 215 area. So weak highs pushing on Apple as of right now. Now, if you do pull up the chart, we've been making incremental higher highs and higher lows, but a little bit of a chip chop action on the intraday. If you kind of again look at the chart there on Apple, we've been kind of building up into some of those prior levels, just shy of that 215 area, some of last week's levels as well. 168.50s now on the Amazon through that level, so absolutely wild there. Let's see. Okay, so that was a lot of size that just
stock
kind of pushed in. Was it? Okay, no, never mind. I'm just looking at some of this. Like look at the block boys that were coming in on Palantir here. Again, 10-12, just about 4 minutes ago. This is on a lit gate. Someone hit. I mean, this wasn't above the ask, but over 50,000 shares at 29.60s into the ask on Palantir here, and we're trading at 29.60s as of right now. Yeah, not really too much movement. Market taking a little bit of a pullback here off of some of these highs. Again, we did do a bit of a fill of that end-of-day consolidation high on Amazon, and we're taking a little bit of a breather. So let's see. I'm not necessarily going to fight this push off of VWAP as of right now, but if we're going to get a bit of reversion down to VWAP, I do want to take a cheeky little stab at that one as the market attempts to pull back into that 18.5. Now, that 18.5, a little bit of resistance off of the open. Let's see if that resistance turns into support going on with the close of this candle here. 12 minutes though. We got 12 and a half minutes until this candle closes. So I'm going to give it. I'm going to again pack my patience, as Sharif likes to say.
I'm packing too much patience on the offer of Intel. Like it doesn't fill me. So I move down. It makes another wick lower, and I don't get that fill. All right. So what I'm going to do is a bit of a change of action and just take less in the middle. And what we talked about yesterday, where if you know you're not getting the fills up top, or if you're going long off the bottom, just take less in here. And then if it gets up there, when I want to be short at like 1990 into VWAP, then, at 85, you can take a third, and then you can take more in the low 90s. If we even get to the low 90s, right? Like it has to get there first. Palantir, at some point, like it's holding, it's not bad, but at some point, did the lick grab, got everybody out. Not everybody. It got me out. I don't know. I don't want to speak for other people, but certainly when it ran that low, I got out and then saw the buying and just re-engaged at a bit of a lower price, or sort of higher price, but you're still running into resistance. I like the fact you're getting higher lows into that, but I need this to start breaking soon. Just not looking the way I want to over on Palantir. So we said we'd look for a dip back into 214 on Apple. back into here. We're able to pick some up, got a fill, and then we're trying to get some back out into the local high, see if we can't continue this run to the upside. Micron, thank you very much. Z06 Dre, look at Micron go. Wow, that is a V-shape. Yeah, well, it's not a V-shape yet, but that is like, people call it a Christmas tree. I don't know anybody that decorates their Christmas tree all red and all green on one side, so I don't call it that, but it's a huge V-shape. There's not even a red candle here on Micron. And I said this yesterday, if a stock does this, you turn bullish on the stock. This is what happened to Nvidia yesterday, Obi, is it did this move, and when you saw it, you just needed to be willing to say, if I liked it short and it worked, who cares what worked before? That is bullish, and if it holds VWAP, I should be testing a VWAP long, and that's where the risk should be. So that's the local bottom on the VWAP test, 92.90. I'm going to take a shot at Micron into that previous resistance. I'm just getting my stop in first. I like the fact here at Real Trading, I can have my stop in before it even gets there. And then I can just sit on the bid of VWAP, move over to Intel, which is starting to move, and be able to manage very effectively. Sometimes you want to get that stop in before you go. So able to get that in. I'm going to get that long off VWAP. And if Micron is going all the way to the top, I'll try to pick it up on the way up. Apple's continuing to churn. That's going right back into the 214.40s as we speak. And Intel, I just got short, but remember 85s. I wanted a price of 90, 92 there. So I do have to be careful and bide my time before I get any more. Market is trying to get back into those highs, Obi. And I believe it is time for the small cap recap.
Okay.
No? Maybe? Yes? Kind of.
As the S&P 500 and NASDAQ try to push higher, we have a little bit of relative weakness here in the IWM, trying to push above into that 207 area of previous pre-market support with a strong green candle before giving it all back up, heading back into that 206 area. So a little bit of chop and churn right now for that Russell 2000. Quite a few small caps to talk about today. We have the Honest Company, HNST is the ticker for this one, up more than 20% and a bit of an upward trend here, beating GAAP EPS and sales estimates for Q2. Next up here, Marin Software, MRIN. This one has run in the past as well, so former runner. This one trading higher after announcing that its AI has some AI-powered tool enhancements for some integrations with Reddit and X for companies that use its features. So good look here for MRIN with an 8% short float. Last but not least, HUGE FSD Pharma is the name of this company. It's actually a Canadian company here, market cap of just under 8 million Canadian dollars. Lots of social media attention for this one, but no catalyst for HUGE, up more than 100%, guys.
Wow. Nothing? That thing's up huge.
No catalyst. So much social media attention.
Okay.
Okay.
No. What? It's up huge. It's literally called huge.
Yeah, it's moving huge right now.
Probably a
100%.
trap. I'm just going to throw that out there. This is going to do it's going to do a billion shares today. So the stock price ain't huge, but the volume is absolutely gigantic. Every time I see one of these, I'm like, harken to the old days. We used to get volume like this on penny stocks all the time. It's riding VWAP currently, so maybe you want to join trends in that regard. I might have that up on a side at some point. But as mentioned, we're back into a short. It's Intel. It's not VWAP yet, but it's trying to get there. I want to get some in the 90s. Apple long is working right back into toward the heights. Now a consolidation off the 214 level. So I was short, reverse long, dipped, looking for 215s on the next fill. Palantir is going back into the upside. So that's right back up to those 75s. Right where the selling was before, said we sell 60s, then we'd sell in front of the 75s. If we break out the top, I'll look to add VWAP on a dip, maybe find something in the 29.75 level for more push to the upside here in Palantir. Careful as, Nvidia just is losing 205. Check that 105. And I said, if I see that on Micron, what I didn't do yesterday, I would try today, which is go long off of VWAP and give it to here. Yesterday, the same thing happened on Nvidia, and I went short. Today, I'm going to go for the long. It takes out the bottom. Big move into the downside. That's a hammer candle. Again, take the L on it. But the lesson for me was when I saw that same setup yesterday on Nvidia, I didn't want to be with the strength of the trend. So in this case, I need to be really convinced that we're losing this. and all that strength isn't just going to consolidate again. Well, I think I'm going to take a couple of swings at this if it holds on to VWAP again, because that's a big reversal, and V-shaped recoveries, I tend to want to look for the continuation. If there's something is going to dump in the chip land, let it be Intel. And until I'm convinced this is underneath VWAP, I want to take pot shots at the long. Still no break of Palantir 2975, by the way, Obi. It just doesn't want to do it. Doesn't want to do it.
Not yet, not yet. So we did get a pullback in a little bit here on the Amazon. Let's see if we can get down to VWAP. VWAP 167.14. 50s bids came in kind of strong there. Again, we talk about having a bit of a key level at that 167.29, but opening. Look at this, opening range kind of consolidation highs at those halves, and we're getting a little bit of a resistance potentially turn into support here, but VWAP sitting right underneath. And take a look at the futures. The futures are testing, the NASDAQ is testing that 18.5 once again, so a bit of an interesting push there. Let's see if we trade above it or below it with only about 5 minutes left on this 15-minute candle to print as of right now. So keeping a close eye on that one. But yeah, no, Palantir is still holding 2970s. We kind of talk about it being a little bit crowded, a little bit again unclean when it comes to that kind of price action there, and it's trading just a little bit higher, teetering in and around day highs there on Palantir, intraday highs, right? We've already seen that it tested that 30 mark in the pre-market. So got to keep that in mind as well. 29s as well at the lows in the pre-market. So a bit of a sandwich action going on. We've been trading within that pre-market range here on Palantir.
Yeah, just not to beleaguer it, but that same level, man. If it can't break it, no, Palantir.
Yeah.
There is a wall of selling at one price. It is just a brick wall of selling on Palantir. No matter how much you're long into it, it doesn't matter. Like, either you're taking profit at that level or you're ignoring the chance to ring the register. And if you have it down here at the 40s, that's a point. You should take, the point, I like it. So if we get chances to buy, we're going to do it. In an absolutely shocking turn of events, Intel just printed at the low of the day because that's what it does. I told you guys I didn't get all in here. That's just how it is. So we try to get some in off the 80s and then think we'd get some at 90. It doesn't want to go higher. If you can't get filled short something where you want, that means it's weak. If you can't get filled long something where you want, a lot of times that can indicate that it's strong. Apple is now pressing higher. Let's go, Apple. Which one of these is not going to work? Let's just hit this, because does that work well? Yeah, the AMC one works absolutely fine, apparently, when I hit a graphic. All my other ones are crapping out. That just broke the local high, headed to 215. With the market actually turning down, Apple's going higher, so that's going to the upside. Do like it. Come on, Palantir, churn through. If it breaks out off this level, I'm looking for a place to add to Palantir. It just has to do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it at Palantir. Just make the break. All those sellers in there, all those naysayers, all those haters, that don't want the stock to get to $30, they just need to get broken one time, and then we can make that rally into $30. Yes, where we said I want to be long into it, I don't want to be long at it.
Yeah, so market's pulling back in through that 18.5 as of right now. So let's see what we got in store. That could kind of have us be waiting a little bit longer on that Palantir break. I have no idea. 167.5 testing as of right now. On the Amazon, Empower Pixel saying, let's please take a look at Hood. We will in just a second here. Let's see. I'm just kind of focused a little bit on this reversion to VWAP on the Amazon. Let's see if that can potentially come in as of right now. As we push a little bit lower on the markets, we broke back below that 18.5. So let's see what that can bring us to here, but a little bit of a bid again on top of these 50s and 30s. That was again opening range kind of consolidation highs there, and we're having a little bit of trouble there. But 18.5, so we're trading below as of right now. So got to keep that in mind. Palantir pulling back off of those 70s, so maybe not ready just yet, or maybe not ready at all. We'll have to again pack our patience for this one as it kind of chops around on the day. But yeah, let us know what you guys want us to look at. Hood, I did
Tesla.
not forget. We will take a look at that in a second. What's going on with Tesla?
I see a lot of people talking about Tesla. Thomas, Nav in the chat. Shout out to all of you. Look, you got to trade what you're trading, right? So I'm happy Apple's going up. Palantir's in the money and working well, all that good stuff. But Intel does what it does. But Tesla, wick bottom to 196 here. So it broke support on Tesla and then immediately regained this. Oh, if you've trapped the short, this is one of the weaker ones. It went right to $200 and dumped. If it holds, like this looks bearish, obviously. I mean, it doesn't get to the 204 resistance on the week. It holds a lower high at 200, which was yesterday's top. It's breaking out the bottoms. Everything about this is bearish. But if it can hold on to 196, it might have trapped people on the break of that flat bottom at 196. This is probably just dark pool wicks. I'm going to assume, yeah, it's just some dark pool stuff happening. There was never a print underneath this 196 till just now. So big key battle zone. If it holds on, gets to VWAP, that could be exactly what the market needs to fly. If you break a fresh low here on Tesla, that's going to look like a short opportunity. But I'm going to play it by ear. The other concerning thing for this market would be what's happening also in Nvidia. Nvidia just put in a lower high. It's about to tag back to the bottom.
You see that?
Palantir just caught a seller as well, back down into VWAP. I'm not going to sit on VWAP on Palantir. I scalp most of it out again to that 75 level, and I'm going to be very patient about reloading the way this market's coming back in. Apple's holding the highs. That seems strong to me. Palantir can't seem to break out. I don't want to be overly aggressive with that one when clearly they're selling up at that 75 zone. If you get 1.5 points, what's wrong with 1.5 points? Adara, what do you have?
Interesting update here on a crypto story from late last year and early this year. Seemed to be resolved. We even a new update on this FTX story. We have the Commodity Futures Trading Commission ordering FTX to pay $12.7 billion to customers following that collapse, saying that because it drew customers in with this, quote, illusion that it was a safe and secure place to access the crypto markets, there was that misappropriation, and so now these funds are owed. So interesting update here with regards to this FTX saga. We have Bitcoin here trying to hold on to this 60,000 level after breaking nicely above it. So interesting look here for BTC. The 60,000 area has definitely been a little bit of an area of support on the daily chart a few times here, so we'll have to see how it holds up for right now for the cryptocurrency. Bitcoin strong, Ethereum strong here, trying to just break near that 2,600 area. BNB, quite a nice look as well. Some weakness in Ripple and Solana, but other than that, generally a little bit of strength in a lot of these other crypto-related names. Also with Tesla, something to keep an eye on here. I saw this circulating a little bit. I've only seen it reported by CNBC, but it's been circulated a bit on social media as well. Senator Elizabeth Warren sent this 10-page letter to Tesla chairperson Robin Denholm yesterday, asking if the company's board has looked into Elon Musk's use of company resources for other ventures, citing specifically how he rerouted some Nvidia chips meant for Tesla to XAI. There's a couple other things cited in here as well, but just be aware of TSLA with that move down in regards to this letter sent by Senator Elizabeth Warren, who has targeted Tesla in the past, guys.
Thank you very much there, Adara. And very quickly, Palantir looks like it was the right decision to take out because it came right back into the support zone. Give it to me. So right back into this higher low, the same one that it had before, and now it's trying to get back into VWAP. So get most of it out. Hang on to that last 10% for the dream. There's the higher low. If the higher low gets broken, I am out. So I'm in at 39. That's it's like a 33 wick. We want to make sure we're reasonably risking it there. If it gets back up to VWAP, I'm going to start at 1-to-1 and then work all the way back up to that 29.70 level, which has been a very, very big level for Palantir. Apple, thankfully, we're able to get that fill up in front of 215, but if we lose 214, I'm jumping out of that one. The short we got is going to be Intel, which is still breaking lows. I got to find another way to get back into this because offering 1995 isn't going to do us any good when this one wants 19 halves in a bad way, it seems. Intel is going to short every single pop that sets up. That's worked. Short the pop, look at the wick, find the wick, short the pop. So just got to wait for a pop to happen, and then we just jump right back in. I heard a few old boys there, Obi.
Yeah, so I did kind of get aggressive into the bid as Amazon pulled into VWAP and actually broke a little bit below VWAP underneath 167s, and then I was like, I punched all out on the re-break through, and then I was like, all right, well, if we're going to continue down on the DAC like that, I kind of want to take much less size, but continue the short. As I already kind of caught a piece of this. I was thinking about it in the 168 halves, I'll be honest, as it pulled back in, and we talk about that Friday's consolidation range high end of day. I guess that was the spot as we kind of clipped that and washed it a little bit and then pulled back down over 1.5 points on the Amazon back into for a reversion of VWAP, right? So it's like, all right, cool. I do want to cover most, if not all. I covered underneath 166's. What did I get? I don't know what I got, whatever. But that action underneath, that rebid through 167, and then rebids all the way back up, half a point, 166.40s, and then dumps back down. I'm like, all right, well, that's fine. I want to get right back into that short if that's going to be the case. Not without me is what I'm saying. If we're going to crack that VWAP and the market's going to pull right back in, let's see. Some strong bidding off of the open above this 18.4 level. Let's see if that bidding comes right back in as we pull back aggressively off of this 18.6 halves. Amazon now holding the 8 EMA on a 3-minute to the downside pretty cleanly as we've done a bit of a claim of that. I don't know what that means, but consolidation low at 166.40s as of right now, trading 166.90s. Palantir still within this range, man. I like the way you're trading it though. You're churning it out.
It's the only way to do it.
Bottoms, you're selling the tops. I got to do more of that kind of trading, kind of churning, building that cash flow and waiting for that move to kind of come to fruition. Oh boy, 166.70s, man. I shouldn't have covered all of it, but that's fine.
Okay. No one ever went broke taking profits,
Exactly.
man. No one ever went broke taking profits. Like, look, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's going to end up being right. Because, like, what if Palantir runs that top and goes to 30 and then I don't add anything and then all of a sudden it breaks 30 and goes to like 33, then maybe that's the wrong course of action. And there's plenty of days where you trade like the scalp trade like I'll do, like get out inside of the range and hold on to a small piece as opposed to holding for the bigger move. And then sometimes I'm dead wrong about that and you'll see me like, oh, why'd you get out of there? You don't know which one it's going to be. I don't know. If you had a crystal ball, then every single time you'd hold for the entire move. Nobody has a crystal ball in this business. I was asked about Huge in the chat. So while I was talking about that, I know the chart was up on Huge. You probably saw me draw a trend line. Since the hold of VWAP is all I'm looking at here. So it did a hold of VWAP on Huge. That's that penny stock. It's going to do 1 billion shares of volume today. Can we come to my chart, Fabian? So it's that hold of VWAP. This is where it starts the second party. That's the wick that it put in, respecting the trend all the way up here. So I just want to see if it can dip back in, hold the trend line, try and play a scalp trade long into it. That's what the algos seem to be doing with this stock anyways, so why do anything else? I mean, you can try to fight it, or you can just do what's happening, which, as far as I'm concerned, is just a little bit of lower hanging fruit. So I'm watching this Huge as it does a half a billion shares worth of volume, and it's 1036. This is going to get to the billion mark, no questions asked, and I got to make sure that I have it on my radar. So with Palantir, I'll go back over. Oh, we got to save that so that line will be there before or the next time I go to the stock for you guys on the mid.
Oh boy.
Palantir trying to get to VWAP. I don't want to offer exactly VWAP.
Yeah,
see if we can always be adding down there.
Very likely.
Stop under
Probabilities
here
increasing.
and play right back up to the 29.75. Apple's still holding on to 214, so that's looking okay. Let me just do this for you. Apple's still holding on to 214. We're able to get a fill up at 214 half. Oh, sorry, in front of 215 and 214 half. Let's see if we can break out that top. And Harmon just asked, when you get the time, can you talk about Eli Lilly? Got some time now. Just got the reload in Palantir. Got my stop. We're locked and loaded, ready to go. Holding on to Apple. We've already scalped into the 15 level. We're good to go there. Intel, short Intel's not under any pressure right now, obviously. So Eli Lilly, back above $900. Let's go, Lilly. Let's go, Eli Lilly. I own in my personal account. So that's the reason I'm excited. So that 850 level ended up being pretty good. Hindsight being 2020, and it being a stock that I never actually intended on trading doesn't really matter. But yeah, the over on that certainly would have worked out for you. When I pull up, this daily chart thing, let's go over to my trade ideas so I can pull up the weekly on Eli Lilly and get a look at the massive, ridiculous week that we're having in Eli Lilly on their big earnings. And then when I flip that to the daily chart, you can see you're now cleared out that 880, and there's not much until you get to $925. This gets to 925. It's got room to 925. That's all I can see here on that breakout here at Vila Lily. Incredibly strong on the week. It can't be stopped. People dip by this en masse. It never quite got to the 50 period on the weekly. So you can throw me into the basket of people that didn't get a dip buy after selling some above $900. So it doesn't matter. It's all well and good to take profit and think that you're the coolest person in town that you sold some near the high, but it's completely irrelevant if you don't get back into those shares. Because then 10 years from now, it doesn't mean jack, because I didn't get back into those shares as we didn't see the 50-period moving average. Let's go. I think we're going to the, are we going up to, yes, we're going up to Adara.
This part of the show brought to you by Stonks.com. Want a chance to win $1,000 every day? Stonks.com is giving out $1,000 daily, and entering is super easy. Just predict the stock price after the earnings report. Today, we're looking at the price of Ethereum. All it takes is 30 seconds to join. Just go to stonks.com, sign up, and hit the make prediction button and potentially win $1,000. It's that simple. Each day, you get one free ticket to predict. Want more chances? Share your referral link and get 5 extra tickets for each sign up. Go to stonks.com. Don't miss out, and good luck. In terms of the sector board, much like the rest of the market here trying to pick a direction, we're seeing a lot of that reflected in many of these sectors, which look more or less flat on the day. Commercial services, process industries, communication, industrials, a lot of flat kind of sentiment here as well in the finance sector and retail trade, with the exception of Costco up more than 1%. Also worth noting here some negativity in electronic technology, as we have NASDAQ generally underperforming the S&P 500 on the day. Lots of weakness here in some of these chips. AMD, Intel notably red. Nvidia selling off a bit as well. Technology services a bit more muted. Google to the downside, but some strength here in PANW, Palo Alto Networks. We have some strength as well in CrowdStrike, Adobe, ServiceNow. So a little bit of strength. Health technology that we need to discuss, because Eli Lilly here up 7%. Day 2 of earnings. Price target increases from at least 5 analysts following that report. The rest of the sector, though, will be muted. Gilead Sciences to the downside, GILD, after their earnings yesterday. Also worth noting is consumer services, which is a little bit different. We have a lot of sectors that are gray. Consumer services are actually mixed here with a lot of sectors, a lot of these names green, and a lot of them red. So consumer services and some of these names could be on watch here, guys.
Thank you very much. I was just pointing out to Obi, like the difference between, like, look at Shopify versus Palantir. So both continuation plays on strong moves this week, and Palantir makes the dip into the lows. It's holding the same high. Like, it's just this chop range. You've got some wicks to stop people out, but really it's just kind of supporting the mid-30s and with a top at 29.75, which is giving you that scalp trade I keep talking about. But then look at what's going on in a, maybe not the same look, but it's been a similar kind of stock this week, post-earnings. The Shopify dips into that low, and it's just grinding higher without anybody selling a distinctive top. It's higher highs and higher lows. It's not a ridiculous amount of volume. It's just like a hair stronger for now. Like, I still have eyeballs on this for a potential top break. It's not going just yet, but if it does, I don't want to ignore that. Shopify, like yesterday I traded Shopify instead of Palantir, and Palantir was a better long. Shopify was good. Palantir was great and then a big reversal. Today, it's almost feeling like it could be the same thing the other way. Tesla did break that 96. So you do lose the bottom on Tesla. It's trying to bounce. This looks like a trend down that it's trying to break as we speak. So it's right now trying to break trend. Anyone trading Tesla, I'm not trading it. Apple, Palantir, we said, Intel for me, and maybe that huge penny stock, literally HUG. But Tesla trying to break trend. If it fails that break, Apple just lost 214. So we're out of Apple. We rang the register at halves and at the evens, but Apple, as we speak, just lost that consolidation. So if it gets back into VWAP, that's the next spot for me at that 213 level. And look at the timing. Right as that was happening, that is Tesla losing that trend level into 196. I should be shorting this right now.
Yeah, this Amazon is coming right into this this consolidation low. Look at this. These are 3-minute candles, right? So we come off of the open, 166. Take a look at this flat support that's been made. 166.40s, 166.50s area. Every time it kind of dipped, again, confluenced with a little bit of a VWAP chop and some of this pre-market consolidation as well. Now we're coming right back in after we've tested. Kind of look back at it right here. End of day consolidation highs right there. Okay, this is a messy chart. Here, let me just take all that off right there. So boom, right there.
Take that.
So yeah, 168.63s were those highs, and 168.54 is day high. Why am I not getting involved much higher on the back through 68? Like, buddy, you're getting in 67, 70s. Do better,
buddy.
Yeah, I talk to myself like that sometimes. I'm just like, you got to give yourself a pep talk. You know what I mean? Like, especially when it comes. Oh yeah, exactly. Fabian's like, I'm not your buddy, pal. I'm not your pal, guy. No, I'm joking. 165, 166 halves holding as of right now. Yes, sir. So a little bit of a hold on this this Palantir. Just a nice and slow kind of grind here, rangy. Very rangy in between 29.30s and 29.70s here. Again, every time it comes up to the 70s, some selling comes in. Every time it comes down into the 30s or the 20s, some buying has come in as well. So a little bit of a range action, nice and slow. Let's see. Jonathan Greenwald saying, Obi, the market needs a pep talk today. Please oblige. I don't know about that. It's me who should be listening to the chart and the price action and following what that is telling me. Mother market is the one who I need to be listening to, or else I will be punished by mother market more often than not.
I like that.
When I'm not listening to the charts and the price action there. So trying to do a little bit better with that today. But I got to stay a little bit more aggressive with this back through the VWAP, man. Look, man, Palantir, look at this. It's just riding on top, nice and slow, like you in a rodeo on top of this 29.30. Oh, baby, give it to me nice and slow. This is just doing nothing. Really lethargic tape.
You were like nice and slow. You're talking about rodeos. I'm like, I had something I was gonna say about like Genuine and Pony. I had nothing. You're all over the place with that one, and I was trying to be on the spot for a couple of puns in there, but I did quickly jump. I'm gonna get to huge in a second. That's that penny stock, which I am in. But I did try that retake of the trend line on Tesla. I'm like, okay, if the market was about to be breaking down, then I wanted this on the retake of the trend line and give it to the local high. Just take that shot that it's going to be a flush day on Tesla. The other play would have been, hey, you could just go long if you wanted to. But I did get a reload in Palantir, which I'm looking at over there. But I just didn't feel like I wanted to go against the current trend on Tesla. So I took the first shot, which was to the south side on it. Huge. Managed to maybe lit grab here. So it could, you can always get a reversal on a move like this, but I see a double bottom at 26. If it loses that, it's probably headed to VWAP on a retrace play. But I'd always rather take the shot. Look, it might go down, and you always want to be cautious with them. But on a day one type play, I'd rather take the shot to risk a couple of pennies that it breaks the high and runs. And then we get a big move, and it's not the end of the world. Like if you risk a couple of cents in here, my price is like 28.7, so it'd be like 3 cents if we lose underneath 26. But if it breaks 30, there's all you know what to pay. So a lot of times you might be playing the reversion, fair enough, but I'm looking for that it makes another leg higher and we can see 40 cents as opposed to playing it tight here for a scalp trade. So this is more, I want to see this really go as opposed to keeping it tight to the vest like we're doing over there in Palantir. Intel is bouncing a little bit. I'm going to try and short the next available pop. It's just a matter of where that might be. And that daily doesn't want to go back further on huge. I can't do anything about it. I'm going to kill some of those charts and then open them back up because my daily's on P per 8. I need to just log out and back in, but I can't do that live.
That's fair. That's fair. So we did get a little bit of a bounce here off of those 16 halves. Again, morning consolidation, low support coming in, confluence with a little bit of pre-market action as well. So I did cover whatever breadcrumb that I had from above 167, 167.10s was the average there. Cover some into 166. 60s, and it comes right back into VWAP. So that support that has shown itself in the morning. I guess in the first hour-ish in the morning, and we got that test above, that support kind of coming back in here. But I did like the short idea off of the open. I did like the short idea off of 168.5. So what am I doing getting in below 168? Got to do better on that one. But now, let's see if we can continue the trade with lower highs. Again, 18.5 confluence on the DAC is what I'm watching here. 167.30s, 167.29, a bit of a multi-time frame level that I have marked off of. We did kind of clip it, give or take 20, 30 pennies there. Got to give it some room, and it is pushing right back up into that level as the NASDAQ is pushing back above 18.5. So I do want to stay out of that trade unless and until we start getting a little bit of a pullback. Can the NASDAQ give us a little bit of a lower high? Can the ES do the same? What is the SPDR doing? SPDR, you are my compass, and the SPDR is trading within the opening range of the 15-minute candle there. We attempted to push highs, pull right back in, holding VWAP as of right now. Softy sideways. Apple's the only one who's really kind of holding its uptrend. So maybe that's the one you want to be watching if you're looking for something relatively strong there. What's going on, Adara?
We're going to take a minute here to talk about the U.S. dollar. After 3 straight days of upside in this daily chart for the DXY, we do have a bit of a candle to the downside here, taking out some of the movement in that last candle from yesterday. No economic data today amidst a week that was a little bit more muted in terms of economic releases, but quite a few Fed speakers to discuss that we had yesterday. So late in the day yesterday, we had Fed's Barkin speaking, saying that the economic numbers are, quote, approaching normal levels. He also spoke on how labor market strength or weakness will be a pretty big determining factor. We had Fed's Goolsbee after the close as well, saying that kind of affirming what we had Fed's Barkin saying, that there are some more normal conditions returning to the U.S. economy. And then later yesterday, we also had Fed's Collins speaking as well, also mentioning the labor market, saying that if there is a healthy labor market, her outlook would be, quote, continued gradual reduction back to our 2% target. So saying that there could be cause for the rates to be reduced gradually if we continue to see that labor market stabilization. So some things to keep an eye on as we head into a pretty interesting week for the economic data next week, with PPI on Tuesday, CPI on Wednesday, and retail sales on Thursday, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. There, just a couple of things, man. Nvidia is really trying to battle back to VWAP. It's been an inside day, an inside morning for Nvidia, but a nice wedge being formed, and it's going red to green, green to red, back and forth at 105. You can see the wedge, higher lows, lower highs, all that good stuff. But you're running into a little bit of a churn back to the upside in the markets. And by the way, Meta is, look, I know Apple's strong as well. And for me, Apple was kind of like that reversal play. But Meta looking pretty good, trying to take out tops. You got the higher lows. You're forming a bit of a bull flag. This one certainly has an opportunity to go. We know Palantir has been doing its thing. Now the problem is it's underneath VWAP that it's churning. That's not the best. Like suddenly you're still getting low 30 support, but then it's stopping at 50s in VWAP. So until it breaks VWAP, it's a little bit of a dud here. You have to be scalping Palantir at this moment, otherwise it's just not giving you that big press into 30 like we've been expecting. So I think the important one for the market will be, Apple's trying to take 215. That could be a high of the day break. And then let's track Nvidia above VWAP. I'd love to see Palantir go, but all it's giving you is these 30s to 50s after giving you 30s to 70s. That's a big drop down, relatively speaking. My eyeballs are up at Apple, and then right here, Nvidia trying to hold VWAP. If it catches some real strength, I might go for the long. Stop underneath that 104.8. It was the same thing I tried on Micron that didn't work. But when we got that bounce, I just want to give it a chance to go. And Nvidia, when it starts to go, it often does not stop. Wow, look at, are you kidding me?
What
Like it just accelerated. I was like, well, I'm about to get quarters, and it just accelerated into 30s. They'll probably still pick me back up here, but like, give me a break. I just did it 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, it's kind of a retest here on the Palantir. Bit of a rhyme. 167 is trading back above with the market pushing aggressively. Look at the size of some of these, specifically the green candles, Neil. We got some strong selling off of the open there. Got some wick action there, but take a look at this. I'm looking at the 10 o'clock 15-minute candle on the Nasdaq aggressively. Again, you can refer to ES as well, kind of similar there. Look at that range of that candle. That is absolutely wild relative to other candles that we've printed. So that's some aggressive buying. Again, makes sense. We kind of flushed off of that 18.5. We broke through it, and then we bid right back up through it. But this candle as well that's printing right now with only about just under 6 minutes left is just as aggressive on the buy side. It took 2 red candles almost 30 minutes to flush down, and then within 15 minutes, we're wiping right back up. So that's some interesting price action on the Nasdaq, and a little bit of a suggestive price action here on the ES. Look at those higher lows that have been forming with some wiki action. Sure, the opening candle gives us a little bit of a strong top wick, but we talk about traps in the market.
It's a trap.
And definitely, if we're trading a little bit like this with that bidding going past some of those opening range highs there, definitely a little bit of a trap here. James with the super chat, thoughts on Lumen? Thanks for all your work. Lumen, yeah, I know. Lumen has been
looming
talk of the town as of recent. And Lumen, again, a little bit of interesting stuff going on in the background on this ticker, and it's holding some of these levels here, $5 mark as well. Nice little push on top of off of the earnings reaction there. But yeah, this is one of those ones. Again, we talk about what is the sustainability of this kind of price action long term. When it comes to tickers, again, that have the same kind of anatomy as this here. So 5 billion market cap, shares float is about $1 billion, but this action here, very, very interesting. Now, again, is it a repeat offender from the past? Not really. We were looking at this ticker. This thing kind of traded. It was inception in. Let's go to the monthly chart. I think we talked about this 1968 or something.
It was a long
1973. Some price action here from Lumen, and some of these highs. I don't know if it's been split adjusted. This is a monthly chart. It doesn't really show me splits, but whether it's split adjusted or not, the highs are at 22.8. So we have kind of pushed into there.
Good.
Look at that strength, that action. We were talking about the buying, the range on some of those green candles with the buying on the futures, very, very aggressive here. So I'm curious to know how we end off the day. Actually, with this kind of range, I also want to take a quick look at the VIX, man. What is the VIX up to? VIX, are we doing a little bit of reverting the reversion today? No, we're just bleeding back down. Okay, it's cool. So that kind of brings that bidding right back.
Obi, if the VIX loses that bottom,
oh boy,
the Nasdaq's
Right
taking
here.
out that. The top on the Nasdaq and the ES is Friday's close. And if we break that support on the VIX, then everything's going to go streaking through the quad, as Frank the Tank would say, which in this context is a good thing. Probably nobody actually wants to see that in real life, but you guys get the idea because old school was great. So if that happens, Nvidia is probably at 108 at that point. So let's see what happens here. We just grabbed it in front of the 105. Let's see if we can continue. Just had a bit of a checkup here at the 105 half, and it's trying to break. I gotta respect the fact that it's trying to break a trend line. So take some out, reestablish in front of VWAP if we can. The only short left for me is Intel, as it just did another lower high wick and is rolling over. So this would be a place actually to add at 79 and give it to that 85 zone. Not many things that kind of look like this on the chart. So if you guys see anything, let me know, man. I don't see anything that looks like this on a chart outside of Intel. Lower highs underneath VWAP. It's just, it's doing its own thing. While the market wants to go higher. So the notion to be in long on Micron was right, to not short it again. I was wrong about where to get in, clearly, just going in front of VWAP. It established a higher low, didn't consolidate at VWAP, and now you're blowing out the high. If we're going to just break out on Micron, Let me zoom out to 15. We have 2 minutes to go. I just want to set this one up because this could actually break while we're not with you guys. So if it breaks out, you're already above Friday's high on Micron. Got removed from Bank of America's US 100 list, or whatever the heck the list was. Everyone has their own. This is our top picks list. It's our electric, whatever the hell they call it. It got removed, which is bad, and now it's breaking out the top. Sometimes that's what happens. They tell you one thing and the market goes the other way. So if we break out this local high on Micron, nice gap to be filled already through that Friday top here. Last Friday's top here, Obi.
Yes, sir. So I did say I would take a look at Robinhood right here. Again, day 2 earnings today, still trading within its range of earnings day 1. We can see a little bit of chop. We tried to break through that reaction high in the pre-market. Can't really get there. Slams right back in down to 1660s there. But today, not really doing too much in terms of relative volume. Nothing crazy. Less than 0.5 on that one. So nothing too crazy, but I am looking at a higher time frame as well, the weekly. Take a look at how strong this week has been, kind of bidding back up into some of these prior support levels here. Prior support level, where again you see a bit of wick action, we consolidate for a long time, and then we bid back up, hold that low above a prior high, support, resistance turning into support, and we kind of clip that and bid right back up. Aggressive kind of candle here relative to how the weekly volume candles have been. Almost as big as this one, almost as big as this one, almost as big as the second day off of second week off of IPO as well. So interesting stuff on the hood, but nothing too crazy as it's only trading within its range of day 1 highs there, or day 1 earnings there. So that's the look on hood. But nothing else too crazy, man. Nothing really.
That's the look under the hood on hood.
Nice.
There you go.
I like that one.
It's actually already 11 o'clock, and I'm glad we said this morning that if you're going to have a bit of a high volatility chop, in this case it's not huge volatility, but if you're going to get a chop fest, retrace highs and lows, then find areas where you can get in, get out, short pops on weak stocks and get out at the bottom, buy dips on something like Palantir and churn it back and forth. Just find the strong stocks and go long off support. Find the weak stocks and just go short with trend or on resistance. That's working so far this morning without getting clean breakout, but that could still happen. So if we do break out these tops, hopefully Nvidia can go. Looking at that Micron, Apple's at 215. Lots of things happening, but it's time for you guys to go to Sharif and Adara. Learn to trade. Go get them.
Yes. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as that midday show. That in the lovely green, and it's a greenish day, is your girl Adara, and I'm Sharif, and we're going to wait for everyone to come on over from the chat. We already have the OG Adrian and Benson. Shout out to TH. Adara.